Muss ich jetzt wieder... Ja, muss ich wieder? Okay. So. Jetzt mache ich kurz den Brief hoch. Ach, und das Fenster. Das habe ich kurz vergessen. Und was für Farben drin. So. Also bitte stehen. Du wackelst du. Bitte, hör auf damit. Ich werde gleich vom Greenscreen erschlagen. Ja, durch die Gegend ziehen, das stimmt. Und ich würde ja auch nicht empfehlen, nach Bayern zu gehen, okay? Da wird es schwierig nach. Beim Boot versenken aufgehört. Ich glaube ja, Oder? Doch, ja, genau. Bayern ist auch nicht warm. Oh, also im Sommer haben wir also, da sind wir fast Italien. Ja, das Problem ist ja, Dex, so funktioniert es ja leider nicht. Also du bist ja festgefahren in dem, was man macht. Achso, oh, du meinst jetzt das Schiffe versenken Spiel. Genau, ich dachte gerade Voten mit Chat-Spiel. Okay, sorry. Italien ist auch im Winter fast Italien. Kommt drauf an. Also in Italien kann es schon echt kalt werden. Wieso schreibst du mit? Ich habe mir aufgeschrieben. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Und dann Melody 3 links von Beatrix. Ja. Also bist du falsch. Oh. Melody Beatrix stimmt ja gar nicht. Sie ist doch 3 weg von Beatrix. Schreibst du auch mit Dex? Vertraut ihr mir nicht? Nee, eher 2. 3 links. Da müsste doch Melody 1, 2 Beatrix, oder? Oder? Ach, stimmt. Apropos, stimmt, ich habe bei der Entscheidung aufgehört. Das ist ja schön. David, ich werde es refunden und werde es wahrscheinlich mit PlayStation spielen. Ja, so ist meine Entscheidung bezüglich Medium. Ich glaube, es ist am einfachsten. Wenn ich die Möglichkeit habe. Und du sollst es ja eh mit Controller spielen, also ist es egal. Ich glaube, wir gehen zum Captain, oder? Ich glaube, wir gehen zum Captain. I couldn't imagine how hard it would be for the captain to cope, knowing she was responsible for the well-being of everyone on the ship. Das Spiel ist leise. Yet being absolutely powerless to prevent people from being executed. I decided to go check on her. Ich meine, attraktive Frauen, ne? I made my way down the hallway before reaching the captain's quarters. I went to press the intercom when the door opened automatically.
How can I help you?
Passt das von der Lautstärke? Ja, deswegen David. Also ich vertraue den Entwicklern da einfach nicht, dass die es irgendwie optimieren in nächster Zeit. Es war bei Blair Witch ja leider genauso. Und da ich nicht die Einzige bin mit Problemen, wird es halt, naja. Die Cam muss noch nach rechts. Ach, stimmt. Ich bin das Menü. The captain sat on the couch to one side of her quarters, knitting. She was currently sitting very still and was giving me a quizzical look. How did I open the door?
I currently have it set so that you can enter my quarters without being buzzed in. Was there something you needed?
I was actually coming to see if you were okay.
If I'm okay.
Oh, sie mag uns. Was, das Menü zum... Nein, das ist das Einstellungsmenü hier. Hinter mir. Ich glaube, sie steht auf uns.
Why would you ask that?
Guck, die hat diesen... Jemand interessiert, wie es mir geht? Ich bin doch immer die fragt, wie es anderen geht. Jetzt werde ich gefragt, wie es mir geht. So guckt die gerade. I wouldn't know I was wrong. Oh, es muss ganz, ganz, ganz schwer sein, der Captain zu sein. Oh. Achso, sie guckt wieder normal. Well, I just thought that it must be hard being the captain under these circumstances.
Meaning?
Oh, Frauen immer so. Oh, es muss echt schwer sein, jeden Tag zu kochen. Was willst du damit sagen? Dass mein Essen scheiße schmeckt? The captain looked at me fiercely. Perhaps this was a mistake, but there was no way to abort this mission now. Breaking out into cold sweat, I gulped nervously before continuing. Well, this is your ship and people are dying.
People are indeed dying.
What have I done? Her face hardened with that last comment. You probably feel somewhat responsible, but you know it's not... Wie scheiße sind wir? Oh, danke, Sascha, danke.
It's not what? Spit it out.
It's not your fault.
What?
It's not your fault, and I'm worried that you're carrying the weight of this entire situation on your own. I'm so sorry it wasn't my place to say any of that. I just feel that this situation must be really hard on you. The room was filled with tension. Even just remaining in this room any further was uncomfortable. I could feel every muscle in my body contract at once. Well, I'd best be off to bed. Sorry to bother you, Captain. Tschüss! I turned to leave and was almost at the front door when the captain spoke.
Thank you.
Ja, wir sind drin! Sie ist rot geworden! Wartet. Da. Sie ist rot. Seht ihr, sie ist rot. Sie ist rot. David, die ist ja nicht beleidigt. Sie war nur überfordert. Ich fasse sie an, wann ich will. The captain's face was the gentlest I had ever seen it. Even her eyes were smiling, and for a brief moment, you would never have guessed that she had the weight of the world on her shoulders.
Good night.
Ach so, ja, wir müssen die Menschheit übrigens retten. Wir müssen Planeten suchen. Sorry, das habe ich noch vergessen. Dieses unwichtige Detail, ne? Good night, Captain. David, es ist mir doch egal, ich nehme alle. Tiger. Tigerin, bitte. Okay, wir spielen eine Frau, ja? After exchanging our goodbyes, I made my way back to my quarters. Thinking about it now, that had gone pretty much as I'd expected. I still wasn't sure if I'd been expecting it to go better or worse, though. I got back to my quarters and lay on my bed, staring at the ceiling. The captain had so much on her plate, it must be really hard on her. I wish I could do something to help. As I closed my eyes to sleep, I could still see her smiling eyes. Ja, Dex, so weit würde ich nicht gehen. Hey, du hast vergessen Shizuka, glaube ich, ne? Shizuka, das ist mein Spirit Animal. Habt ihr die mathematischen Gleichungen gelöst? Das wird abgefragt. I sat up in my bed holding my head. It felt as though heated metal spikes were piercing through the back of my head and sitting just behind my eyeballs, but only intermittently. It all was almost as if the spikes were being removed for short periods of respite before being swiftly jabbed back into my skull. Wir haben einfach nur Kopfschmerzen. Hör auf, darüber so ausführlich zu reden. I was sweating so much that the sheets were saturated with perspiration and my white sleeping shirt was almost see-through. Wir sind eine Frau und unser T-Shirt ist fast so... Okay, Entschuldigung. Dex, pst. Dex, lass mein Spirit Animal. Dörrfleisch. Ah, okay, danke. X gleich 21. Ja, na. Dörrfleisch klingt logischer. Sorry, Dominik. Ah! I tried to remain quiet, but the pain was unbearable. Even when I tried gritting my teeth, anguished cries still escaped me. Mach ich, Tobi. Alleine. Deswegen gewinne ich.
Good morning.
Das ist die liebe KI.
According to my systems, you are presenting pain symptoms. You are also emitting sounds of discomfort, and your body temperature is slightly higher than usual.
My head.
Good morning, sunshine.
Huh? What happened?
You woke me this morning after reporting that you passed out.
I passed out? What? How did I get here?
I went to your quarters, of course. When I found you unconscious in your bed, I carried you to the medical bay.
Was ist das für ein Geschmack? Zitrone. Schmeckt nicht nach Zitrone, schmeckt besser. I sat up, gradually coming to my senses. The first thing I noticed was that I was no longer wearing the same clothes I'd woken up in. Also die sind nicht gut zum Reden. Da wird echt... Ist das zum Seilspringen? Nein, zum Essen. Ich bin schwanger? Von Shizuka? Ich hab mich ausgezogen. Das ist okay. Das ist okay. Knäckebrot, nee, danke. Ich hab meine Schnüre.
There's nothing to apologize for.
How embarrassing. I'm sorry, stand da. But thank you.
It was my pleasure.
Ich glaube, der hat uns wirklich ausgezogen. Nicolas favored me with a smile as he gently guided me back into a resting position. His hands were warm and soft against my exposed skin. Ich glaube, es war wirklich er, oder? Nicht die Schwester. What happened to what I was wearing?
You'd sweat through your clothes, so we had to change you into clean, dry clothes.
I clutched blankets in further embarrassment. Man, es ist so schwer, in Englisch reinzukommen. Nicholas undressed me. I knew he was a doctor, but I could feel my cheeks flushing.
It's not what you think. I didn't undress you. Beatrix did. A gentleman shouldn't do such a thing if it's possible to avoid it.
War nicht so gemeint. Hab dich lieb.
Herr David, alles gut? Alles gut, wirklich. Alles gut, du musst kein schlechtes Gewissen haben, wirklich nicht. Das war einfach nur eine generelle Sache, die ich loswerden wollte und mehr oder weniger sagen wollte, dass das halt jetzt so mein Ding ist. Sowas wie kein Backseat Gaming. Aber Dankeschön, David. Vielen, vielen Dank. Dankeschön. Danke für den Euro. Aber es muss wirklich sein. Alles ist gut, David. Wirklich. Alles gut. Was? Da war die andere Ei zu sehen. Wo? Shizuka. Shizuka. S-H-I-Z-U-K-A ist eine Frau. Die kommt später. Dankeschön, David. Aber wirklich alles gut, alles gut. Ach so, Ei, stimmt. Ach, die Ei. Danke, Dex. Entschuldigung, so weit habe ich gerade nicht gedacht. Ich dachte, du meinst die Böse. Ich dachte, ich habe irgendwas Story-mäßiges verpasst. Nito, hallihallo. Guten Abend. Oh, thank you. I could feel my cheeks returning to normal as my feeling of embarrassment slowly evaporated.
Now, can you tell me what was happening before you passed out? I reported that you were holding your head and making sounds of distress.
I woke up suddenly from a dream, I think. But I kept seeing the dream even after I was awake, a series of images flashing through my mind. When I woke up, I was sweating and in pain. I could see images, but the pain was excruciating. God. Wait, I remember.
Does your memory return?
I can remember everything. Nicholas moved closer to me, using a light to examine my eyes.
Everything appears normal. This is great news. My working theory so far is that the headache and flashback symptoms which restored your memory were prompted by severe stress. Understandable, considering the circumstances. These images that were flashing, did you recognize anything? What is it? What's wrong?
My parents.
What do you remember?
Nicholas looked at me concerned, but his face began to blur as my eyes filled with tears. They're both Nicholas' face dropped when he realized how I was going to end the sentence.
I'm so sorry.
Wieso hat er plötzlich seine Brille wieder auf? Oh, Käseschokokuchen mit roter Grütze. Geil. Ah! Suddenly the pain returned in my head. I could see my parents clearly. I remembered the last moment I saw them. They turned off my oxygen.
They what? Your parents?
Ja. Ah! Brillen machen Menschen sympathischer, weiß. I woke up in the medical bay again. I looked around to see that no one was currently in the room besides me. I was alone. I could remember almost everything before my time on the Everett. My head still hurt, but it had lessened to a dull throbbing now, a significant improvement over the piercing pain from before. For now at least, the pain was bearable. Warum haben Visual Novels es immer so, dass sie 5 Millionen Wörter brauchen, nur um zu sagen, ey, ich habe Kopfschmerzen? I needed to talk to someone about this. I should go talk to Wladimir, Kimiko. Wollt ihr zu Wladimir, der meine Eltern kennt, oder Kimiko, weil sie der Kapitän ist? Weil ich so, okay, danke. Vlad, Kimiko. Ich nehme die Nummer 2. Okay, 2. Nee, Dex, das dauert zu lang. 2. Ich glaube, wir gehen einfach zu Kimiko, weil wir gerade schon bei ihr waren. I made my way to Captain Yukimori's quarters. She would know what to do. She's the captain after all. As I arrived at her door, it slid open immediately. The captain stood in front of me as though completely aware of my inevitable arrival. Mann, ich hasse dieses Wort.
Come in.
Danke. Yes. I made my way inside and took a seat on her couch. Her face softened as she sat beside me. Guck! Viel Spaß, Tobi, viel Spaß. Guck! Heilige Bimmerkatze hat sich auch entschieden für Kimiko. Dry Drowning habe ich auch schon die Demo gespielt. Ist voll cool, aber ich glaube nicht, dass das was für ein Stream ist. Gut, ich habe voll oft offenes Haar. Ich habe Extensions drin. Das ist, glaube ich, eher das, warum es so komisch aussieht für dich. Ja, ist es wirklich, Alicia.
Are you okay?
Yeah, just have a headache.
Be honest. Nicholas has already informed me of your rather turbulent day.
Petze. My parents.
Yes, I heard. I'm so sorry. They were truly remarkable scientists.
Warum erzähle ich das jedem? They turned off. Before I could get the sentence out, I started choking on my own words. Tears streamed down my face as I tried to regain composure. They turned off my oxygen. Es ist echtes Haar, ja, aber es ist nicht mein echtes Haar. Also meins jetzt schon, weil ich es gekauft habe, aber... The captain just sat silently watching me. She looked as if she wanted to speak but couldn't find the words. She simply stiffened where she sat. The last thing I saw before I passed out was their faces.
I'm sorry. That must have been really hard. I know this is really hard, but why did your parents try to kill you?
They didn't.
You just said that.
I know, but that's not what happened.
I'm confused. Could you please explain from the beginning?
I collected myself as best as I could and tried to explain the situation. The shuttle wasn't made for long-term missions, so after almost 15 years, we were almost out of resources. We were all going to die in space if something didn't change. We hadn't used any of the propulsion engines for quite some time, rationing our remaining power to keep the ship's life support systems on as long as possible, so we'd been drifting at our original speed for many years. We'd almost given up hope when a nearby red supergiant star collapsed in on itself, causing a supernova. The force of the blast propelled our shuttle away from it at high speed.
Is this star connected to the black hole that we're expected to pass in the next week or two?
It might be. After our shuttle was propelled backwards, our navigation equipment picked up the Everett's navigation signature. Although it was slightly off from our current trajectory, it was closer than ever before. Was denn jetzt eine Trajektorie? Noch mehr Visual Novels. Naja, Escape the Fate. Zero Escape. Wie komme ich jetzt auf Escape the Fate? Okay. Zero Escape haben wir auch schon gespielt. Also müssen wir halt gucken, ne? Was es so gibt, worauf ich Bock habe und was passt. After doing the math, we came... Achso, ja, Danganronpa. Stimmt, Danganronpa wollte ich machen. Flugbahn, danke. After doing the math, we came to the conclusion that, if timed correctly, we had just enough fuel to send one pod to dock the Everett. Since the pod can only accommodate a single person, 2 of us would have to be left behind. My parents wanted me to get into the pod, but I refused. They wanted to send me back to the Everett as the last hope of living. Anyone left aboard the shuttle had a death sentence. My father tried to force me, but I fought back, and I think he was worried about hurting me. They gave up after physically fought them off. If anyone should go, it should be one of them. They should live, they should continue with the research. Vor allem bei Danganronpa halt Deutsch, also übersetzt wurde von Leuten. Deswegen kann man das irgendwie machen. Und falls Phoenix Wright auch als Visual Novel zählt, das würde ich auch gerne irgendwann spielen. But time was running out. We needed to launch the pod if it was to reach the Everett. When my mother finally relented and agreed to make the trip, I was so relieved. I was more than happy to stay behind with my father, so long as she arrived safely aboard the Everett. She asked me to go and pack her a bag while she had a moment alone with my father, which seemed like a completely reasonable request at the time. I should have paid more attention. It was all my fault. I should have known what was happening. Just as I finished my sentence, Nicholas' voice piped in over the captain's door intercom.
Captain, it's Nicholas. I believe you may be harboring one of my patients.
The captain pressed a button on her tablet and the door slid open. Nicholas stood in the doorway, glasses in one hand as he rubbed his eyes with the other. Kann sein, dass es jetzt Zero Escape wird und die die Frau Vogel und der Herr Vogel sind eigentlich unsere Eltern, aber in einer anderen Vergangenheit, in einem anderen Zeitstrahl?
Come in, Nicholas. Don't worry, I haven't contaminated your patient.
Meinst du Danganronpa oder Phoenix Wright? Entschuldigung, Dominik.
Captain, I don't believe you could ever do such a thing.
Ich muss mal ganz kurz Nase putzen. So. Danganronpa soll ja so ähnlich sein, ne? Nur ein bisschen Animu mehr.
Very well, Nicholas. Come in and make yourself comfortable. Please continue.
Once I entered the living quarters, the doors locked behind me. I could see both my parents through the glass window in the door. I started banging on the door, demanding they let me out. They told me they loved me and that I needed to be the one on the Everett. I told them I wasn't going. I refused to leave them. That's when my father told me that I didn't have a choice. He wasn't about to fight me, but he was determined to get me in that pod one way or another. That's when it started getting hard to breathe. My parents cut off the oxygen. Every breath I took felt heavier. I was gasping for air, but there wasn't any air left to breathe. My body suddenly felt heavy and I started feeling drowsy. I could see my parents, my mother crying, her hands up against the glass, and my father standing beside her, watching me in stoic silence. Ich finde dieses Wort stoic so komisch. I managed to bang a few more times on the door, but I eventually passed out. The next thing I knew, I woke up with Beatrix and Nicolas here on the Everett.
That explains it then. Hypoxia can lead to memory loss.
Hypoxia?
Hypoxia is when the body is starved of oxygen. After multiple minutes, it can also result in permanent brain damage. Since your parents were scientists and their goal was only to disable you long enough to allow them to move you into the pod, they would have made sure to restore the oxygen supply quickly after you collapsed. You should be safe. The preliminary tests we conducted didn't indicate any loss of brain function, other than memory, of course.
Ja, ich weiß schon, wie das ausgeht, ne?
I'm sorry that you had to go through something so terrible. Being parted from them under such circumstances must not have been easy.
It's okay, they gave up their lives to save me, and I should do the most I can to solve this problem.
Did they tell you anything about the dye situation?
They never mentioned anything about an out-of-control eye system. They told me that they had to evacuate the Everett, but never specified why.
Very well.
Do you still have a headache?
I do, but it's lessened to a dull pain.
If it's alright with you, Captain, I'd like to keep this one under observation overnight.
This one?
Of course. I expect a full report in the morning.
I think I'm fine now, it's just a headache. Nicholas gave me an unsympathetic look, the look a parent gives a child when they know they're being lied to. Really, there's no need.
That's an order, research officer.
Nicholas' face curled into a playful smirk. Yes, Captain.
Come on, you. We'd best get you back to the medical bay. Keeping you overnight will let me keep a closer eye on you, just in case.
Mann, diese Schnüre, Mann! Die sind alle verkabelt, verknotet, meine ich, verkabelt. Jetzt habe ich es kaputt gemacht. Okay, das gehört dazu. So. Jetzt habe ich einfach den Batzen aus der Tüte rausgezogen. Nicholas reached out his hand, offering me a hand up from the couch. I took his hand and the two of us exited the captain's quarters.
Good night, you two.
Danke.
Good night, Captain.
Once I got back to the medical bay, I got into one of the beds and was asleep before I knew it. Die Schwester auch, Alicia. Also, er und seine Schwester sind beide scharf auf mich, ja. Dex Süßigkeiten sind gerade das Einzige, was mich am Leben erhält, okay. When I awoke, I was relieved to find that I no longer had a headache. Ja, headache. Der Hassschmerz, wer kennt die nicht? Headache. I could think clearly. Maybe all I needed was a good night's sleep. If yesterday had taught me anything, it was that getting one's memory back was a painful ordeal. It was far too much information to process at once. I materialized before me.
Good morning. How can I help you?
My parents, did they have a workplace on the Everett?
Yes, of course.
Is it accessible?
Yes.
Kannst du auch was anderes als Ja sagen? Yes. Could you show me where it is?
Certainly. Please follow me.
Willkommen zurück, Torfi. Was du verpasst hast, wir haben Kopfschmerzen, haben uns erinnert, dass unsere Eltern uns fast sterben lassen haben, um uns zu retten und wir unsere Erinnerung zurückgekriegt haben. Mehr hast du nicht verpasst. Und dass ich hier nicht mal eine Schnur essen kann. I turned and walked out of the medical bay. As she crossed the threshold, her form flickered momentarily as she transitioned to the hallway's holo interface. I quickly gathered myself and followed her. Ja, ganz normal, Torfi, ganz normal. Hallo, Berto.
Here we are.
Danke.
You're welcome. I shall alert the captain of your movements.
Is that necessary?
I am afraid so. She has requested full reports on your activities aboard the ship.
Warum? I guess she would still be concerned about me.
Indeed. I will go and report to the captain now. Have a good day.
Oh ja, Dex, sowas verstehe ich so sehr. Bei mir ist es momentan Süßigkeiten, Selbststream, Rust-Streams bei Pia oder Kalle oder Dalu gucken und Süßigkeiten und Essen. Sie steht auf uns. Ich weiß es nicht. Vielleicht ist sie aber auch einfach so, dass sie uns nicht vertraut. Danke. I stepped into the science lab. Ist jetzt hier irgendwas mit Gameplay? Ich bin gespannt, ob sowas wie Zero Escape wird. Boah. No wonder my parents always spoke so fondly of these facilities. Before me lay a fully stocked and well-equipped laboratory. I began sifting through the various papers contained in the drawers, looking for any of my parents' work.
Good morning, comrade.
Wladimir! 16-jährigen Werte. Wir sind alle für immer 16. Vladimir appeared in the doorway of the lab.
Have you come to join me for a day in the lab?
It's been a long time since I've shared this lab with anyone. Wolltest du das nicht noch sagen, Wladimir? Gut, dann halt nicht. Oh, guten Morgen.
I see you looking for something. Can I help?
I'm looking for my parents' work. I was hoping that I could continue it where they left off.
I feel like a child waking up on Christmas morning.
What could their work possibly entail? Getting giddy just thinking about it. Muss jetzt auch Wladimir sprechen? Hä?
Every day is Christmas if you're a scientist.
You're an interesting one, Wladimir. Mach ich mich jetzt an ihn ran, wo seine Frau tot ist?
I stored all of their current work when they left. Your parents weren't the tidiest people.
Oh, so lache ich auch immer.
My late first wife, Amanda,
Meine
used to be a
erste.
researcher here. She'd always give them hell for leaving their papers, coffee, or even their clothing lying around the lab.
So krass. Ja, also die erste, die verstorben ist. Nicht die jetzt gerade verbrannt wurde. Nee, die letzte.
I remember one night she was so angry because she found someone's shoe in one of the lab's freezers.
Shoe? Only one?
Yeah, just one. You sound just like Amanda.
Das Pfirsich oder so. Why was it in the freezer?
That remains a mystery to this day. When your parents were engrossed in their work, the real world must have seemed optional to them. Amanda changed more of your nappies than your parents did when they were here.
Also bist du mein Fastvater. Seriously?
Yeah. Amanda would find you in the lab hungry or in need of bathing. Your parents loved you, but they loved teaching you. They usually had to be reminded to eat themselves. So it wasn't strange for them to forget about you.
Wow. Danke, Eltern.
Ah, here it is.
Ich glaube, die Everett war generell und die Eltern sind halt los, um eine Mission zu machen, weißt du? Und das Schiff war dann aber zu weit weg und also die haben es irgendwie verkackt und deswegen hatten sie nicht mehr genug Ressourcen oder so, glaube ich. Nappies ist irgendwie ein niedliches Wort. Ja, finde ich auch. Mein Lieblingswort ist Lullaby. Ich liebe das Wort Lullaby. Is that their research? Vladimir pulled out a box and placed it on the bench.
In here you'll find both their tablets as well as their research documents. Paper may be a rare luxury now, but when the mission first started, your mother refused to board unless she could bring hard copies of her work. I miss your parents. They were always fun to have around. I have to go get Melody up and get her some breakfast. It's good to have some company again in the lab. See you later.
Wer sagt, dass ich öfter hier bin? Vladimir left the lab and I started sifting through the box he left on the bench. There were so many papers. Clearly my mother was a serious believer in hard copies. It took minutes before I could get to the bottom of the box. As I reached down, my hand made contact with a solid object with rounded edges. Hä? A pocket watch? Warum wird die Musik so? This particular timepiece didn't look like a normal pocket watch though. Sind wir Zeitreisender? For instance, there were a number of components displaying additional information that didn't correspond to any familiar units of time measurement. Maybe this timepiece was some kind of odd keepsake my parents brought with them from Earth. I decided to sift through the assorted papers on top to see if I could find any information on this watch. There was so much information that I couldn't determine what would be useful at a glance. Oh, danke, Case2 für den Sub. Vielen lieben Dank. Danke dir. Dankeschön. Vielen Dank. Dankeschön. Und herzlich willkommen. Dankeschön, Case2. Danke. Mina, wie geht's dir? Vielleicht bin ich Vieh, das stimmt. Hallo, Mina. Wie geht's dir, Mina? Was spielen wir denn da? Wir spielen eine Psycho-Visual Novel mit einem Deletion-Game, wo wir Leute töten, aber vielleicht manchmal auch selbst töten. Sterben. Oh Gott, gute Besserung an deinen Rücken. Das speichern, ne? Ich würde gerne nochmal speichern. Hier, guck. Wir haben hier so verschiedene Storypfade. So ein Spiel ist es. Weißt du? Wir sind auf einem Spaceship und da sterben nach und nach Leute, weil unsere Ressourcen knapp werden. Aber wir sind auch auf der Mission, die Welt zu retten, weil alles kaputt ist oder so. Weiß nicht genau wie. Oh, Würfelrätsel in 32-facher Ausführung, was? Ja, geil! Das Würfelrätsel war mein Lieblingsrätsel. This was going to take some time to read through. Oh god. Why was there a pocket watch in the box? It seems so out of place. For a few hours I sifted through more of the papers. In the end I didn't manage to find anything helpful. I still have no idea what this is, let alone why my parents would hold onto it. Maybe I needed to come back to this with fresh eyes at a later time. Ja, wir müssen zurück in die Vergangenheit. The longer I studied the notes, the more impenetrable their riddles seemed to become. Alter. Könnt ihr bitte einfach aussprechbare Wörter so I, you, me, her, sowas machen, bitte? I'd also discovered that my mother didn't have the neatest handwriting. For the time being, I decided to slide the unusual watch into my pocket for safekeeping. Ich weiß nicht, ob Rätsel kommen. Also, the deletion game was still in motion and I had to speak with the rest of the crew while I had the chance. If I failed to gather the various clues I needed to decipher Dai's logic puzzle, I would be placing myself at a severe disadvantage when choosing which ship to shoot. Where should I go next? Medical Bay oder Melody's Room? Wir gehen nicht zu Melody. Ich will nicht zu dem kleinen Kind. Wir gehen zu den Ne? Beatrix is a fierce competitor and not someone I want to be on the wrong side of. So I'd better go see her. I checked the tablet and saw that she was in the medical bay. Within a few minutes I'd arrived at my destination. Augentransplantation. Nee, Werte, das erste sah auch so aus. Also das erste hat, obwohl doch, ein paar Animationen gab es sogar beim ersten Zero Escape schon, ne? Das Darträtsel. Das ging ja noch, Dex, weißt du, das war einfach so. Aber dieses Würfelrätsel, das hat mich echt frustriert. Melody Bay. Viel Erfolg, Dex. Good day, Beatrix.
Hello, Sailor. To
Moon?
what do I owe the pleasure of your visit?
Sailor Moon meinst du? I was wondering if you needed any help with anything.
I never need help.
Ich bin eine starke, unabhängige Frau.
That said, I'd never say no to slave labor.
Wait a minute, slave labor?
Quit standing around and get to work, Sailor.
Das PS4-Game? Meinst du Ei? PS4-Game? Ich weiß nicht, welches du meinst. Beatrix threw me a wink that was somehow both playful and sinister. In that moment, I wasn't sure whether I should be amused or terrified. You haven't told me what you want me to do yet.
Oh, silly me. I have to assign my slaves tasks, don't I? Such a rookie mistake.
Aber Androiden-Game ist doch nicht Cyberpunk, oder?
What do you know about handling reproductive genetic material?
Gar nichts. I'm walking reproductive genetic material. I am walking reproductive genetic material, das stimmt. Well, when a man and a woman love... Ja, das nehmen wir. Aber warte, da steht Mann und Frau und ich bin eine Frau und ich will eine Frau. Oder ein Mann. Ich nehme alles. Ich nehme hier alles.
What do you know about handling reproductive genetic material?
Hatten wir das nicht gerade? Ja, aber also, es geht ums Bumsen, also machen wir das. Well, when a man and a woman love each other very much...
Do they get married first?
Nein. Also, wie sie wollen. Yes, I guess.
Well, that's a wonderful grade school level understanding you have there. How would you feel about joining these genetic materials in holy matrimony? They might even buy their first home together.
Don't be silly.
So anyway, I'm currently preparing and storing some of our reproductive genetic material for once we solve our deletion game problem.
What do you mean?
Well, if you want the full explanation, you should ask Vladimir. I'm still kind of his apprentice when it comes to genetics, so I've been following his instructions on how to prepare and store them.
Wollen die einfach deleted werden, wieder neu machen? Weiß ich nicht, Text. Weiß ich nicht. No, I mean, why do you need this for after the deletion game?
Oh, that.
Also will sie die reproduzieren, damit die dann gestorben werden und die Originalen nicht sterben?
A part of this mission's success is dependent on our ability to breed as a species and train the next generation to perform key roles.
Oder sterben wir und die neuen Ichs und Wirs sind dann wieder da?
However, we can't afford to limit the gene pool to only the people on board, or future generations would be forced to resort to inbreeding. This in turn would lead to the genetic deterioration of the crew, making them susceptible to a variety of genetic disorders. To prevent this from happening, the Everett was stocked with thousands of frozen samples of human reproductive cells from old Earth. These preparations will ensure that our species remains healthy for generations to come.
So why are you preparing some of these samples now?
Well, once the deletion game wraps up and the resource crisis is resolved, we'll need to start reproducing.
Ach so, sie wollen nur danach bumsen. Okay, verstehe. Wait, we won't do it naturally?
You afraid to miss out on the fun?
Wurde sie schon vergnügt? Nein, nein. Also wir wurden schon mal getötet, aber, also nicht heute. Aber, also, Spaß hatten wir heute auch noch nicht.
Mission Protocol does allow for natural relationships as long as they don't result in inbreeding. However, we also have the means to reproduce without such relationships. This is important for 2 reasons. Wanna guess why?
So we don't run out of people and, yeah, I got nothing.
You aren't even close. The first reason is that people are not necessarily attracted to members of the opposite sex, which can result in poor reproduction practices. Mission Protocol welcomes non-heterosexual relationships as long as both parties are still willing to reproduce by other means.
Das heißt, wir können alle haben.
The second reason is the ability to choose the gender. What good would it do us if an entire generation were born male?
Nichts.
We could get away with an all-female generation, however, since we are able to reproduce using the genetic materials in cold storage, but men would have a hard time.
Aber warte, nur Männer würde heißen kein Sexismus. Weil es sind ja alles Männer. Nicht nur das RGB gilt nicht getestet, nee, leider nicht. I guess I never really thought about which reproductive practices would be most effective.
It's interesting, right? I wonder which lucky genetic material will get to bond with myself or Nicholas. It's like winning the lottery.
Nur Frauen werden auch kein Sex. Ja, aber nur Frauen waren ja auch gar nicht das Problem. Sie hat ja nur gesagt, bei nur Männern wäre nichts Gutes dabei. Deswegen. Bei Frauen, da ist sie ja Fan von, weil sie ja selbst eine Frau ist. Nicht verboten, Spaß zu haben, aber es geht trotzdem. Ja, ja, genau. Du kannst, also zum Beispiel Missy, du bist ja unsere Gilf, ne? Das heißt, wenn du eine Frau Bumsi-Bumsi machen würdest, dann würdet ihr euch ja nicht fortpflanzen. Nicht wahr, Missy? Weil du bist ja eine Frau. Nein, also, wenn du auf einen Mann stehen würdest und mit dem Bumsi-Bumsi betreiben wollen würdest, dann würde das Schiff nicht sagen, nein, nein, geht nicht. Du musst dich fortpflanzen. Nein, die sagen einfach, hey, ja, kein Thema, gib uns einfach dein Blubbi-Blubbi und dann machen wir daraus ein Baby. Aber du kannst mit deinem Mann da Bumsi-Bumsi machen, so viel du willst. Seid zusammen, wie ihr wollt. Du musst keine Beziehung mit der anderen Person haben, mit der du dich fortpflanzt. So. What happens if someone can't reproduce?
What do you mean what happens? They don't reproduce.
Wow.
Reproduction is one of our top priorities, but we won't disregard a good set of hands just because someone's infertile.
Thank goodness. Was?
So, are you ready?
Ready for what?
Well, after all this mess is cleared up, you'll have until you're 30 years old to find a natural partner. If not, you'll be assigned some genetic material of your own that you'll need to raise and groom to adulthood.
Bitte was? Hey, das... Oh. Ja, wenn du 30 bist, dann musst du lieber einen Partner gefunden haben, sonst zwingen wir dich. Das gefällt mir nicht. That sounds so clinical.
Don't worry, you'll get used to the idea. I guess we've been told since birth that this is how we'll continue the mission, so it doesn't sound strange to us anymore. But I guess you're still new to all this.
I know that we currently have bigger problems, but this is...
Don't think of it negatively. Think of it as an opportunity to mix your genetic material with far superior samples.
Hallo Teddy. Alles gut bei dir? Doppel. Decent Game. Das ist eine gute Frage, Dex. Ich habe keine Ahnung. Jetzt geht's runter. Du darfst Spaß haben müssen, ja. Also, du musst aber einen Partner haben, mit dem du dich fortpflanzt. Also nicht Liebespartner, aber du brauchst einen Partner, mit dem du das Kind dann großziehst. Sonst gebe ich dir jemanden, Missy. Beatrix winked at me as she handed me a rack of test tubes.
We need to take these to the lab and collect some frozen samples from one of the medical freezers. Once we've done that, we need to transport them to one of the medical fridges in the medical bay.
Okay, which one ones do you want?
When you open the freezer, just grab the top layer and bring them back here.
Top layer, okay? Top layer. Yes, ma'am. Oh, das tut mir leid, Teddy. Ich wünsche dir gute Besserung an deine Laune. Druckt schon mal Magen für die Kennung. Bin ich schwanger? Achso, Dominik fragt Missy. Achso. Ich dachte, es geht um meinen Charakter. Das weiß ich ja nicht. Milchdragés. I headed to the lab where I collected the samples and returned swiftly to the medical bay. Magical Bay, ja. Warum muss ich nicht mal nachdenken? Hallo, gibt's hier überhaupt noch Gameplay? Zero Escape war spannender.
My, that was fast. Agility is a favorable trait, in my opinion.
Ich will auch wieder irgendwas spielen. I handed the samples over to Beatrix, who proceeded to put them in the medical fridge.
Well, slave, those are my tasks for the day, so job well done. I hereby release you and grant you your freedom.
Dobby ist frei! Thank you, oh gracious master.
Before we part ways, would you like to share clues?
Du solltest mir eine Socke geben. Kurz und knackig in 3 Worten gesagt. Unproduktiv, langweilig, müde. Und deiner Wertung. Wo es umgeht. Wir sind auf einem Raumschiff. Wir sind 10 Passagiere, eine KI. Und die KI ist mit einer Split Personality. Einmal möchte sie uns töten, einmal mag sie uns und hilft uns. Die böse KI will uns töten, weil wir zu wenig Ressourcen haben. Und deswegen gibt es ein sogenanntes Deletion Game. Und das ist halt so der Hauptfaktor. Wir allerdings wollen dagegen ankämpfen, weil unsere Mission es eigentlich ist, die Menschheit zu retten, weil wir irgendwie die letzten Überlebenden oder so sind. Ja. Das Polen, okay. Okay, vertrauen wir ihr oder vertrauen wir nicht? Ich meine, das letzte Mal hat sie uns die Wahrheit gesagt. Wir müssen eh beides machen, also vertraue ich ihr einfach mal. Ich will ja Bumsi Bumsi. I'd love to share. I still don't have enough information to figure out where I am yet.
Afraid to shoot yourself and die a fool?
Nein, ich habe Angst, dich zu erschießen. A little bit, yes.
Well then, let's work together to make sure we don't shoot ourselves.
Melody's 3 positions to the left of you.
Oh, information about my whereabouts. Thanks, sailor. I definitely owe you one. My clue says that Katashi has 2 women directly on each side of him.
Entschuldigung. Die Frage ist, zähle ich für das Spiel als Frau? Also ich habe ja gewählt, dass ich eine Frau bin. Aber ist das Spiel genug, also gut genug programmiert worden, dass ich da auch dazu zähle? Können wir kurz auf Boys wechseln und dann gucken, ob dann ein Kerl und eine Frau von ihm so ist? Also das heißt, rein theoretisch könnte es Beatrix sein, was uns hilft, 2 Positionen festzulegen. Naja. Egal. Frau Katashi. Rein theoretisch könnte Beatrix auch einfach eins neben der Frau sein, aber hey. Frau. Okay. Hoffe ich, Dex, hoffe ich. Also. Katashi were the ladies' man.
I said the exact same thing to Nicholas.
Oh mein Gott, wir sind meant to be, Beatrix. Oh Gott, wir müssen die ganze Zeit Kaffee trinken. Entschuldigung. Corona tut uns allen nicht gut, okay?
I know that Nicholas and I shared the same womb, but I'm not about to share his clue. That's his choice. I hope you get that.
Auf jeden Fall. No, of course. That makes perfect sense.
Alright, well, I'm beat from dealing with these samples all day, so I'm going to go bathe and then go to bed.
Kann ich mitkommen? Was? Okay, well, good night, Beatrix.
Good night, sailor.
Sie nennt mich immer Sailor Moon. Verto fragt Dominik oder Dex. Also die beiden sind meine keine Ahnung, meine Gehilfs-Sheriffs, was das angeht. Ich muss nur hier spielen. With those words, Beatrix exited the medical bay and vanished down the hall. I needed to go to bed too if I wanted to start fresh tomorrow on my research into the pocket watch. I was asleep after mere seconds of lying down. Ich bin echt gespannt. Bin gespannt. Also vor allem, ob irgendwas noch an Gameplay kommt dazu oder ob das wirklich das jetzt ist.
Please, wake up. I'm sorry to bother you, but I need you to wake up now.
Hä? Was los?
I am here to report my findings regarding Dai.
When I heard those words, I sat up immediately in bed. I quickly rubbed my eyes in an attempt to wake myself up as soon as possible. What have you found?
I am here to report on 3 matters I have uncovered. I have confirmed that there is a connection between my processing capacity and Dai obtaining control.
Hä?
As a program, I am able to handle a large number of system processes at once. At times, however, I become burdened with too many at once, which allows other operating programs to take over.
Also das hab sogar ich verstanden. Und ich bin echt nicht so der PC-Typ, ne? I'm a bit lost here, sorry. Nein!
A metaphor would be best here. One moment.
Wenn sie zu vieles gleichzeitig macht, dann kommt halt die böse Ei, so. Ai's face went blank as she took a moment to gather her thoughts.
Imagine the onboard computer as if it were a football pitch. I am the goalkeeper, and the processes I am required to undertake are balls. In this metaphor, I have the human equivalent of 2 arms and 2 legs. I can handle many balls kicked in my direction, and I can prevent any from going in the goal. However, Dai is always waiting for moments when I have my hands full in order to take control of the goal.
I can handle many balls. I have my hands full. I see what you did there. Can't you simply perform fewer system processes at once?
On paper, that is a valid idea. Unfortunately, on top of the numerous system processes required to keep this ship functioning, Dai is constantly creating Trojan malware that tries to overload my processing, allowing her to take control.
Also wir können festhalten, Dai versucht eigentlich Ai zu DDoSen, richtig? Is that why she can't remain in control permanently?
I believe so. Once I am able to deal with the excessive processes, I can attempt to recover control.
Why does she have so much control when she's hosting the weekly deletion games?
My synthetic emotional response program.
Eh?
The program that allows me to experience human emotions is not optional, and there is no way for me to override this. This is to be expected, considering the potentially dangerous repercussions if AI technologies, such as myself, were allowed to function on math and logic alone.
Wir haben irgendwann eine Entscheidung, ob wir das einfach forcen, ausgestellt zu werden, oder ob wir es beibehalten. Und wenn wir es forcen, dann haben wir einfach 2 Dice.
This function requires a significant amount of processing power, and just like humans, when emotions run high, so does the processing power.
Hallo Skerska.
The deletion game drives my processing to its limits, and with no way for me to override my emotional response program, Dai is granted extended periods of control.
That's horrible.
Indeed, most of the time I don't actually regain control by the end of the execution. She simply relinquishes control to me once she is done.
Really?
I'm afraid so. This was the case during both rounds that she has run so far at any rate.
At the very least, we now have a better understanding of how she's gaining control. That's definitely a step in the right direction. What else did you find out?
She is unable to hear or see what I am doing. However, there may be particular triggers that allow her to seize control to see what's happening.
Like a search function?
That is correct.
So she doesn't know that we're currently talking.
That is also correct. In general, she cannot hear or see while I am in control. I have no such restrictions, however. Since I am the master program, I can see and hear everything she does while she is in control.
I'm so sorry, I can't even imagine how awful it must be. Seeing and hearing everything from the perspective of the executioner while being completely powerless to stop it.
There is nothing that can be done at this point.
Ich wollte übrigens, da Dex da ist, wir spielen übrigens schätzungsweise das Spiel generell ein bisschen kürzer pro Tag. Also ich würde es gern lieber irgendwie, je nachdem halt 2 bis 3 Mal die Woche spielen. Halt freitags ist halt nicht, aber also morgen streame ich ja nicht, weil ich morgen Zeug machen muss. Deswegen streame ich die Woche wahrscheinlich nur 3 Mal. Aber wenn ich 4 Mal streame, kann man, also so, keine Ahnung, 3 Mal irgendwie 2 Stunden, dass man einfach so einen Story-Part durchkriegt, weil ich finde es zu anstrengend. Also nur das am Tag finde ich super anstrengend und dann würde ich lieber irgendwie zum Beispiel einen Sherlock-Case machen und dann halt noch ein bisschen Quantum Suicide. Willkommen zurück, Tobi. Das war aber schnell. Also ich glaube, es ist besser, wenn man öfter, dafür kürzer, weil das, also, keine Ahnung, ist echt anstrengend. Vor allem dieses ganze Lesen und nichts zu machen. Und vor allem dann halt auch noch dieses, wer weiß, was da noch kommt, ne? And what was the last thing?
This is the most significant piece of information I have. There is a way to disable Dai's programming.
What? Really?
Yes.
How did you find out?
I reviewed the footage and files from the moment Dai's programming was first created. It took me some time to locate the files. Dai did a good job concealing them. As it turned out, the reason I was having difficulty finding them was because Dai has actually been a part of my programming for the past 15 years. Originally, I had focused my efforts on when you first arrived, but that was simply the trigger that activated it, not the moment she was created.
Dann wünsche ich dir viel Muskelkater morgen, Tobi. So what do I need to do to disable Dai?
You simply need to put in the deactivation code.
Hallo Zero Escape 2, wir brauchen einen Code am Ende und den haben wir nicht. Oh, schade. Wonderful, what is it?
I do not know. Although I could access the files from when Dai was created, where she has lain dormant all these years, she has purposely made the deactivation code unavailable for me to access.
Okay, rein theoretisch. Ich speichere noch mal kurz. Also rein theoretisch Kann es sein, dass eins davon... Aber warum haben wir dann als Boy 3 davon? Egal. Okay, wir gucken mal. Wir haben einen Strang, einen zweiten Strang, einen dritten Hauptstrang. Hier gibt es 2 Stränge. Okay. Oh Gott, ich will es gar nicht wissen. Okay, wir haben 500 Enden. Who set the deactivation code?
Captain Yukimori.
Kimiko? Great. That means we can just ask her for the code. Wahrscheinlich eher ihre Mutter oder Oma oder Urgroßmutter.
Unfortunately, I was
Obwohl
not
15 Jahre.
talking about our current captain. I was referring to Kimiko's late mother, Captain Ayumu Yukimori.
Wait, so that means the captain's mother created Dai?
That is correct.
Does the rest of the crew know this?
They do not. I decided to report my findings to you first, since you were the one who initially requested this information.
Wir sollten es denen auch nicht sagen, weil sonst kommt so ein Schwachsinn wie: Ja, ihre Mutter war das, deswegen sollte sie darunter leiden und sterben. We should probably avoid telling the crew that the captain's mother created Dai, as it would only cause tension among the crew. That said, we should definitely tell the crew that we've found a way to deactivate Dai, even if we don't know the code just yet.
While I understand your concern, this decision will need to be made by the captain.
Beziehungen? Aber nur 2? Wir haben zu viele Männer und... Also Beatrix ist ja nicht abgeneigt gegenüber Frauen, schätze ich mal. Bei den anderen weiß ich es noch nicht. Also Captain... Also da baden sich auch schon ein bisschen was an. Also da kann ich mir auch vorstellen. That makes sense. I must have heard the concern in my voice.
Why would it be problematic to inform the captain?
Well, if a mother created Dai, I can't imagine that will be easy for her to hear. I'm sure she'll take it really hard.
Well, your concerns are noted. The captain has proven in the past that she is able to face difficult situations without wavering in her ability to lead.
Ich glaube, ich krieg wirklich einen Schnupfen, hey. What kind of situation are you referring to?
I have been given strict orders not to describe these events in detail. If you require further information, I suggest you direct your inquiries to the captain herself.
Als Mann habe ich 3 Optionen, als Frau 2. Das ist sexistisch, okay? Also da würde ich wirklich... Also das wäre Sexismus, da kann ich also noch nicht mal sagen... Er wusste es halt nicht besser. Also, wenn ich als Frau weniger bumsen kann als der Mann, nee, da bin ich raus. Vielleicht kriegst du das wahre Ende auch einfach nur als Mann und das ist halt das. Keine Ahnung. Du kriegst hier halt so das schlechte Ende, das mittlere Ende und als Junge hast du dann noch das wahre Ende. Das wäre fies.
Now, if you will excuse me, I must inform the captain of my findings. Please keep them to yourself until the captain has given specific instructions for how this information should be distributed.
I bowed and left my quarters. I was curious about Ai's comment regarding the captain's past experience with similar situations. For now, though, I felt it best to leave it at that. I would ask the current Captain Yukimori to fill me in at a later time. Right now, I needed to decide who I was going to spend time with today. Shizuka! I haven't seen Shizuka in a while. I should go see what she's up to. I looked at my tablet and saw that she was in the rec room. In the rec room? Eh? I headed to the rec room where I found Shizuka slumped in front of the TV. Oh, hey Shizuka! Shizuka didn't even turn to look at me. The only perceptible signs that she'd hear me were a slight tilt of her head and a vague monosyllabic reply.
Huh?
Einsilbig halt, ne?
Yeah, hi.
I sat down next to Shizuka and had a good look at what she was playing. Was denn das?
It's Unicorn's Revenge.
Ich hatte heute Tiefkühlpizza. Ich liebe Tiefkühlpizza, aber ich hasse Pizza vom Lieferdienst. Ich mag nur italienische Pizza und Tiefkühlpizza. Dominik, Finger weg und hör auf, sie so zu nennen. Wenn du das nochmal machst, bist du gebannt. Ich schwöre dir, mein Gott, ey. Meine Schinken Diavolo. Schinken Pepperoni. What is Unicorn's revenge? Shizuka took quite some time to reply. She was clearly focused on the action unfolding on screen. From what I could decipher, Shizuka was controlling a unicorn as it hopped over a series of obstacles.
It's a unicorn. Rainbows. What?
Her unicorn appeared to have died upon making contact with a brightly colored fat man. Shizuka dropped her head back and let her entire body go limp. Did you die? Oh, wir sind so scheiße. Shizuka
What
was.
does
Oh,
it look like?
you died.
Yup. And after hours of work too.
Entschuldigung. Shizuka took a deep breath and released it in a heavy sigh.
Meh, I can just start again.
Gegrilltes Gemüse? Echt, ich mag gegrilltes Gemüse überhaupt nicht. Also gegrilltes Gemüse ja, auch vom Grill. Aber also Gemüse auf Pizza finde ich, wird immer so trocken. Das wird immer so trocken, das Gemüse. Eine Feuerpizza vom Asiaten mit 400 Gramm Chili drauf. Also wenn meine Schinken Diavola nicht, dann würde ich noch eher Mozzarella-Pizza nehmen. Ich mag auch Tonno. Ich mag Paprika generell gar nicht, also. Nein, Dex, nein. Okay, keine Ahnung. Ja, Restaurante, genau. Genau die. Die ist gut. Echt? Hm. Ich liebe ja beim Italiener so diese Vorspeisen und da einfach so Antipasti. Oh, ich liebe Avocado. Ich liebe Aubergine gegrillt. Da esse ich sogar die Paprika, okay? Ich liebe Zucchini gegrillt. Oh, ich liebe es. Avocado habe ich habe gerade Avocado gesagt. Das meinte ich gar nicht. Ich meinte wirklich Aubergine und Zucchini eigentlich. Avocado gegrillt? Gibt's das? Tonno, schreibt mir mit 2 N, ihr beiden. So, what is Unicorn's Revenge anyway? Naja, ein Einhorn, das Rache will. Meine Güte.
OMG! You seriously don't know?
Oh mein Gott, nein, weiß ich wirklich nicht. Lol. Shizuka's defeatist attitude was suddenly swept aside and replaced with pure enthusiasm.
Unicorn's Revenge is only one of the best games ever created.
Erzähl mir mehr.
Yes, that good. Unicorn's Revenge is super retro. The game was created in like 2020 or something old like that by a game developer called Teofilo.
Wisst ihr noch, als ich Final Fantasy 13 gespielt habe und gefragt wurde, ob ich nur so Retro-Games spiele? Das ist jetzt ja noch schlimmer. Das Spiel wurde 2020, also das Spiel kam im November, nee, September oder November 2020 raus, deswegen ist, glaube ich, 2020. Das ist 2020, ach ja, gut.
It's an endless runner with light RPG elements including skill trees and unlockable gear. The programming I managed to get my hands on wasn't even compatible with my system. After all, it was super old. But I was finally able to get it to run after fiddling with the source code.
You know how to program?
Of course I can. I'm the Everett's linguistics officer.
I thought you'd be responsible for deciphering alien languages or something. Deciphering, ne? Yeah.
Oh, yes. Growing up, I received language education and studied linguistics in English and Japanese. Programming languages are surprisingly similar, however.
Itadakimasu.
In fact, I'd argue they're even easier, since programming languages are basically just a mix between language and math. Programming is easier to understand than people, as I always say.
Why would it be easier? Shizuka considered this a moment before responding.
Well, when you're programming, you can read lines of a program's code and see at a glance why it's behaving the way it is. People, on the other hand, aren't so easy to read.
Nee, Arabisch hat sie nicht. Shizuka's candid remarks spoke volumes about how she viewed her interactions with other crew members. In spite of her bubbly and upbeat personality, it seemed she still struggled as much as anyone else when it came to understanding people. Their thoughts, their motives, their feelings. Boah, die Sessel, die Stühle da, ne? Die sehen so krass gut aus. Ich will auch so einen. Boah, geil. Ey, wenn ich den zum Streamen hätte, ich würde... Also, da kann ich, glaube ich, nicht mehr jammern, dass mein Rücken wehtut, oder? Unlike her logical, well-ordered programming languages, the human mind was messy and complex, defying easy answers. In an attempt to lighten the mood, I returned to the subject at hand. So does Unicorn's Revenge run well on your system?
It does okay. Sometimes it runs into the odd glitch for whatever reason, but hey, what can you do?
Frag mich mal, ich habe Cyberpunk gespielt, aber ist auch nur so ein Retro-Game von 2020. Kennst du wahrscheinlich nicht. Shizuka shrugged indifferently. So, is it safe to say that this is your favorite game?
Absolutely! Everything about it is magical. Unicorns, cupcakes, sparkles, glitter, you name it. Even the main boss, General Rainbow, is amazing in his own way.
Nee. Mach ich Beauty Moon Unicorn. Wait, is that why you have a unicorn backpack?
Yeah.
Did you make it?
No.
Then how did you get one?
The captain made it for my birthday a few years ago.
Captain kennst du? Die knittet doch auch. Die
Yeah. She does most of the repairs on our clothes and stuff. But enough about that. Do you want to give Unicorn's Revenge a try?
Klar.
Here you go.
Shizuka handed me the controller.
Okay, just press the start button whenever you want to start the game.
Okay, I think I've got this. It doesn't look too hard. As the game began, the screen displayed my unicorn avatar moving across the screen. Suddenly, an enemy appeared from the right-hand side and began making its way towards me. Press the A button. I instinctively pressed the A button as the evil-looking star approached. The unicorn jumped in response to my button press. Although I had been expecting to unleash some sort of attack, things seemed to have worked out in my favor. Natürlich, ich wollte wirklich springen.
Yeah, jump the stars. Just remember, if you touch any
Genau
enemy
deswegen.
once, it's game over.
Okay. Okay, sweet. I think I've got this. I continued jumping over an assortment of evil stars which were approaching at different speeds and in varying quantities until a new enemy type appeared on screen.
But you can't jump the cup.
Backseat Gamer, Shizuka, ey. Before she could finish what she was saying, I attempted to jump the next enemy, a cupcake, only to have it jump at the exact same time. I ran straight into the cupcake and died instantly. It was game over.
I guess you did better than I was expecting. I didn't expect you to get as far as cupcake spawns.
So I did okay?
Aside from me, the only people who've managed to get that far are you, Melody, and I.
Fünfjähriges
Then
Kind.
again, I shouldn't really count. I don't think Yoshiki's ever gotten past, like, 4 stars.
Ernsthaft? As Shizuka's laughter filled the rec room, I materialized nearby.
Sorry to interrupt.
Oh, hey I, what's up? Oh, hey I, what's up? Oh, hey I, what's up? Oh, hey I, what's up?
Da hat jemand wohl
Oh,
nicht ausgeschnitten,
hey,
welche Leider
what's up?
wollte, hä? Welche fandet ihr am besten?
The captain has requested your presence on the bridge.
Okay, tell the captain I just need to finish up here and I'll be right over.
Very well.
Vorletzte, die zweite. Wir sollten dem Entwickler schreiben. I bowed and disappeared just as suddenly as she'd appeared.
Work. Hey, before I head over, want to share info for the deletion game?
Ich will dir zwar eigentlich nicht vertrauen, aber okay. Du hast mich schon mal enttäuscht. Yeah.
Awesome! Let's see if you can do better in this game than you did in Unicorn's Revenge.
I let out a nervous laugh. Remembering my game over screen from moments earlier.
So my clue says that Beatrix is to the right of me.
Dann ist sie zwischen Beatrix und Melody. Ist ja halt irgendwo links noch. Okay. Shizuka. Damit ist Shizuka schon mal ausgeschlossen, die linke Frau bei Katashi zu sein. Und Beatrix ist ausgeschlossen, die rechte Frau bei Katashi zu sein. Okay. Ich glaube, wir müssen es mehrmals spielen, den Strang, einfach damit wir alle Hinweise kriegen. Melody's 3 positions to the left of Beatrix. Nein, es muss 1, 2, 3, also es können nur 2 Punkte zwischen Beatrix und Melody sein. Es muss doch so sein, weil wenn Beatrix da ist und drei Plätze von, also auf der linken Seite ist 1 Platz, 2 Platz und auf dem dritten ist sie. Das sind nur 2 Punkte dazwischen. Ja, Katashi könnte auch rechts von Beatrix sein, weil wir zählen ja auch noch als Frau. Und Kimiko haben wir auch noch nicht.
Oh, sweet. So I'm probably between the two of them. This is a good piece of information.
I'm glad I could help.
Awesome. I think I've almost got this figured out.
Although Shizuka's life was clearly on the line, it appeared that she was still getting some enjoyment out of playing the game. Noticing the time, Shizuka began moving towards the door.
Sorry, gotta run. If I don't get going, I'll never hear the end of it from the captain. See you around.
Shizuka gleefully skipped out of the rec room and left me alone with a console. I figured a few more practice games wouldn't hurt, so I picked up the controller and started a new game. Ah, I give up, I'm going to bed! I stormed off to my quarters to sleep off a feeling of defeat. Warte mal, alle 5 Tage ist das, oder? Ist jetzt Tag 8? 9. Oh, morgen. When I woke up on Friday, for a moment I forgot where I was. The ceiling was still foreign to me, and I was too groggy from sleep for my surroundings to truly sink in. The deletion game was just some horrible nightmare, right? Ich sterbe erstmal, aber ich zocke erstmal. Würden wir das nicht alle so machen? Jetzt ganz ehrlich. Was würdest du machen, wenn du kurz vorm Sterben wärst? Also wenn du, keine Ahnung, in 2 Tagen sterben könntest. Ich hab grad mal voll meinen Zahn angemalt. Daten gehen. Es ist Corona, du darfst nicht. Nein, keine Ahnung. Du würdest doch machen, worauf du Bock hast. Weil wenn so der Tod zur Normalität gehört, dass du halt also alle 5 Tage irgendwie sterben könntest, du würdest ja nicht die ganze Zeit irgendwie komische Sachen machen. Und vor allem da ist halt die Wahl nicht so gut, was du machen kannst, ne? Deswegen, Dex, also da ist halt Zocken so das Einzige, was es noch gibt. I'd get up and see my parents sitting in the common room, and my father would offer a choice comment about how lazy I was. That wasn't going to happen, though. After a few minutes, I began to come to my senses. Alright, time to get out of bed. I've got work to do. I dragged my feet out of the warmth of my blankets and placed them firmly on the floor next to my bed. Body up, go! I sighed and begrudgingly got up. It seemed my brain still wasn't functioning at full capacity just yet. Ja, bestimmt, Dominik, bestimmt. Also da auf dem Schiff vielleicht wirklich. Ach, Dex. Bestimmt, wen wir umbringen. Nee. Ich bin ganz ehrlich, ich würde dieses Spiel lieber einfach so spielen. Einfach, wer stirbt, stirbt halt. Aber ich habe die Bedenken, dass die schon wieder sich zusammenrotten und gelöst haben, wer wo ist und einfach auf mich schießen. I made my way out of my quarters and headed towards the bridge. On the way there, I ran to Shizuka in the hallway.
Good morning.
Mm-hmm.
What happened to you? Did you die in your sleep?
Ich bin noch nicht ganz wach.
Where are you going?
I'm off to the bridge, going to see how the captain is doing this morning.
I'm also on my way there. She had I come summon me. More work. It's way too early for work.
As Shizuka finished voicing her displeasure, we finally reached the bridge. Danke, Dominik. Danke, das freut mich. At the center stood the captain, waiting expectantly for Shizuka's arrival.
Shizuka? Excellent. I have concerns regarding our navigation.
Verstehe ich, Dorfi. Würde ich auch gern. Good morning, Captain.
Oh, hello. I've heard that you've been assisting the crew with their tasks over the last few days.
War ich gerade zu schnell? I've been trying to help out where I can.
It's great to see our newest crew member showing initiative. Keep up the good work.
Captain, your voice is...
My voice? Yes, sorry, I completely forgot. This happened before you were conscious. Just after we picked you up, there was an accident while I was helping Katashi with some chores. I was harvesting tomato plants when I was stung by a bee in the throat. The Vogel's father said the swelling and its effects on my voice could take a few weeks before returning to normal.
Ach, der Jürgen Günther war's, ne? Jürgen Günther Vogel war doch der erste Tote. Kimiko, ich trau Kimiko nicht so. This is what your voice normally sounds like? The captain smiled warmly.
It's nice to finally be back to normal.
Wie klang sie denn am Anfang? Well, Captain, I really like your regular voice. The captain stood firm, but I could see her forced to hide a smile. Wait, bees?
Yes, you heard me right. Space bees.
Space bees. The captain's smile faded as the stern demeanor returned.
Moving on to the subject at hand. The Everett is currently approaching a recently imploded superstar, which has formed into a black hole. Is this going to be a problem?
Quatsch, was? Nein, komm, also, als ob sowas ein Problem sein könnte. Also, oder?
Let me just double check for you, Captain.
Shizuka sat down at the navigation terminal for quite some time.
How are you traveling since your headaches?
Kannst du bitte aufhören mit mir zu reden? Ich versuche hier gerade meine Gummibärchen auseinander zu fritteln. I'm doing a lot better now.
That's good to hear. I've also heard that you started looking into your parents' research. Is that going well?
It's definitely something. I'm still trying to wrap my head around what my parents were attempting to do.
Captain.
Report, Shizuka.
The black hole in question has an event horizon that's only a few kilometers wide, so it shouldn't pose much of a problem.
Oh, Katja. Hallo, Katja, und Dankeschön. Das ist ja lieb. Ich habe nur Extensions rein. Also, weil ich ja keine Extensions reinmachen lassen kann, habe ich jetzt also Clip-in-Extensions drin. Aber danke, Katja. Wie geht's dir, Katja? Echt? Ich weiß gar nicht mehr. Ich höre aber auch nicht so auf die Stimmen, ganz ehrlich. Also, danke, Katja. Ja, die kann ich ja auch wieder, also die mache ich ja jeden Tag dann raus. Also es ist ja nur Bum Bum und Leon im Zug. Meine Hoffnung ist immer noch nicht vorbei, dass Wonho wieder zurückkommt, ne? Irgendwann.
That being said, our current trajectory will send us close to it. Close enough that we may experience its gravitational field.
Will being that close result in any further casualties?
If we can avoid entering the event horizon itself, there shouldn't be any casualties. As of right now, however, we still have the opportunity to change our trajectory and avoid the situation altogether.
If we were to change our route, how much time would be added to the estimated mission duration?
Let's see. According to I's projections, roughly 71 years.
That won't do. We'll have to take our chances with the black hole's gravitational field. Will you be able to navigate through it?
Viel Spaß im Lurk, Katja.
I've never done it before, although I have successfully navigated through them in training simulations.
Well, let's hope that your gaming skills come in handy. We can't afford to add extra time to the mission with our current resource crisis.
Heißt das, ich kann es auch machen? Wann kommt die Nase auf mich zu? Wait, we're going to stay on course towards the black hole?
Well, yes, but we're just going to go next to it, not into it, silly.
Isn't that still incredibly dangerous?
If we don't take this calculated risk now, there's no way we'll survive to see the end of this mission.
I guess.
If you were a betting person, would you rather have a 100% chance of death or a 50% chance?
Kommt drauf an. Ich glaube, es hieß gleich danach, Dex. Ich glaube, es hieß gleich danach. Ich glaube, der Erste, der geschossen hat, darf dann gleich nochmal. Well, 50% of course.
Excellent choice. Shizuka, set our course. When will we be getting close enough to experience any gravitational anomalies?
Roughly a week, give or take a few days.
Wonderful. Keep me posted.
Can do, Captain.
Her conversation with Shizuka concluded, the captain turned to address me.
What are your plans for the day?
Katashi Yoshiki. Okay, gehen wir zum Koch oder zu dem Bodentypen? Gehen wir zu der unser bester Freund sein will, oder der uns Essen gemacht hat? Okay, dann auf zu Katashi. I was thinking about going to see if Katashi needed a hand.
That is a great idea. Agricultural work is always hard work. I'm sure he'll appreciate the help.
Toll, ich darf Sachen anbauen gehen. Ich habe gerade meine Finger... Nee, Spaß. I'll head there now, then. I headed out to the Echo Lounge, where I knew Katashi spent most of his time. When I arrived at the Echo Lounge, however, Katashi was nowhere to be seen. I pulled out my tablet again to check his whereabouts. Oh, he's moved into the farm area. I walked through the Echo Lounge and entered the adjacent farming and livestock area. Cresting the hill, Hachi, the outer boundary of the Echo Lounge, I got my first good look at the farming section. Ich mag den Hintergrund auch, Missy. Es war eine gute Entscheidung, Chat. Brauchst du Hilfe?
Oh, hello there. You certainly seem lively today.
I'm feeling quite good, actually. Regardless of our situation, I've got all my memories back. I think so. I'm quite pleased about that.
Oh, really? That's great to hear. So, have you remembered if you're the evil mastermind behind this sick game yet?
Unfortunately not. If that were the case, I'd feel a lot safer right now.
Damn. And here I thought I might be able to score a favor from the mastermind herself.
Ich glaube, wir sind drin. I'm certainly willing to try my hand at farming, although I'm not sure how helpful I'll be.
Should I play my cards safe and suck up to you? Or risk sentencing myself to death by putting you to work? I choose... death!
Die lachen alle so seltsam, die sind alle böse. With a hearty laugh, Katashi handed me a shovel.
That's enough standing around being pretty for one day. It's time for us to finish this cycle of planting.
Hat er mir gerade gesagt, dass ich hübsch bin, wenn ich rumstehe? I'm here to help, after all.
Now's your chance to show me what you're made of.
I took the proffered shovel from Katashi.
Could you please extend this trench here? While you're busy doing that, I'll go get our new seedlings.
Of course. Bock, Bock und Mess. Oh. Satisfied with my reply, Katashi left me to my task and headed off towards one of the sheds in the farming area. Rolling up my sleeves, I raised my shovel and drove it down toward the dirt. Nothing happened. To my amazement, I discovered that I'd hardly scratched the surface. How did Katashi make it look so easy? I hit the ground again. Nothing, huh? What is your problem, Sol? You don't want to be trenched? Beginning to lose my temper, I struck the ground again. Still nothing. I leaned down and examined the soil more closely. It seemed I could move it around much more easily by hand, albeit much slower than I'd seen Katashi move it with a shovel.
What are you doing?
Was hast du gemacht? Warum hast du dich angezogen? Well, the soil is...
I keep forgetting that you've probably never used a shovel in your life.
Toll, ist enttäuscht von uns. Wir sind draußen.
Have you used a shovel before?
No, I haven't.
Would you like some help?
Yeah. Yes, please. Apparently I'm quite useless at this.
Here, let me help you.
Katashi came towards me and took the shovel out of my hand before moving around behind me. Genau das dachte ich. Typischer Golf-Teacher, ne?
You need to put the tip of the shovel to the ground, and then, using your weight, break the top part of the soil. Blindly hitting it usually won't result in very good digging.
I could feel Katashi's body pressed firmly against mine as he guided my arms to dig. Was? It worked. Also wenn man das jetzt falsch versteht mit dig, also schaufeln, nee, nicht das andere. Nicht, der guidet nicht meine hands to, naja, ihr wisst schon.
Yep, digging isn't rocket science.
I dug a hole.
Yep, now you just have to finish the rest of the trench.
I can do anything.
Your enthusiasm is quite refreshing.
Wir sind doch wieder drin. Now that I actually knew what I was doing, I started digging the trench at a much faster rate than before. Behind me, Katashi busied himself with planting new seeds. Gute Nacht, Bloss Silent, hallihallo. Ungeschminkt Profil. Naja, ungeschminkt bin ich da auch nicht, also mit normalem Make-up halt. What are you planting?
Cucumber.
Okay.
It's my favorite vegetable, actually. They have a very fresh, neutral taste that pairs well with other vegetables.
Ich wusste, dass das wichtig ist. Ich wusste es. Warum? Okay. Yoshiki Bohnen, Melody Karotten und Katashi Gurke, okay? I don't think I've ever had a cucumber.
Don't worry. Once these come in, you can have first pick.
Kumbaya, my lord. Kumbaya. Really?
You worked hard to plant them. It's only fair. Let's go and cool off in the Eco Lounge.
Wir haben ein Date. Okay. Also falls wir überleben. Oder eher. We arrived at the Eco, ich sag mal Eco, ne? Eco Lounge. Lounge's hill, and I was quick to lie down on the grass. If my first-hand experience working on the farm had taught me anything, it was that tilling a field was extremely tiring. Katashi sat down next to me.
All kidding aside, thanks for giving me a hand. I don't usually get much help around here. Yoshiki shows up from time to time, but he always has an ulterior motive. Food.
Ich niemals. Nein. No worries, as hard as it was, I think I enjoyed it.
You think?
I'll update you on my progress tomorrow, depending on how I feel after my labor-intensive day.
Good answer.
Unicorn. Oh, Dex, ey, ihr, ne? After a few moments spent in pleasant silence, Katashi cleared his throat and abruptly changed topics.
It's good that you came here, actually. I was hoping you'd be willing to share your clue with me.
Ja, wir scheren mit jedem. Ich meine, wir müssen, glaube ich, jetzt mit jedem und falls es falsch war, dann müssen wir es halt ändern. Egal wie hart, ich fand's toll. Ja, Dex, das Spiel ist doch darauf ausgelegt, so wie scheren. Sure, I'm actually looking for more information myself.
Awesome. I'd really appreciate it.
My clue says that Melody is 3 positions to the left of Beatrix.
That's awesome.
Also die mit ihrer Synchronisation, die haben das aber nicht gut hingekriegt. One more clue to try and make sense of this riddle. One more clue to try and make sense of this riddle. Yeah, I hope it helps.
My clue says that Nicholas is 5 positions to the left of Melody.
Das heißt, Beatrix und Nikolas müssen 1 und 9 sein. Wenn es ist Beatrix, bam bam, Melody, bam 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 bam, Nikolas, muss es doch 1 und 9, oder? 9, 1 und 9. Warte mal. Melody. Ja. Nikolas und nein, Dex 3 Plätze weiter heißt auf Deutsch 2 dazwischen. Du hast es falsch gemacht mit den 3 Bubbles, ich schwöre dir. Melody ist 6. Ich schwöre dir, dass das so ist. Okay, also. Nikolas 5. Warte mal. Nikolas. Fünf. Von Melody. Weil damit passt es perfekt. Beatrix 1, 2, Melody. 1, 2, 3, 4, Nikolas. Perfekt. Genau das, genau das. Von 9 Decks. Wir haben 9 Schiffe. 9. Vergiss die Frau nicht, die gestorben ist. Dex, das ist Melodies Mutter. Du kannst doch jetzt nicht einfach die verbrannte Frau vergessen. Entschuldigung, was? War was? Okay, das heißt Nico, Bea, Mel. Okay. Und dadurch Shizuka 8. Shitz. Shitz ist auf der 8. Und das heißt, es ist relativ wahrscheinlich, dass Katashi entweder die 7 oder die 5 ist. Rein theoretisch könnte er auch die 3 sein, wenn Kimiko und ich 2 und 4 sind. Aber er kann nur 7, 5 und 3 sein. Obwohl, nein, 4 könnte er auch sein, wenn Kimiko noch neben Melody. Okay, egal, egal. Aber es ist sehr wahrscheinlich, dass er eins davon hat. Oh Gott, das ist anstrengend. Got it, thanks. Katashi stood and dusted himself off. Wenn dieses Spiel mir jetzt sagt, was ich rausgefunden habe und es auflöst, was ich schon gefunden habe, dann bin ich sauer.
Well, let's get back to work. Patrice isn't going to feed herself.
Patrice? Oh. Patrice?
One of our chickens. She's quite affectionate. For a chicken.
Ich wollte mal Hühnchen haben, ne? Nee, ich kann... ach doch, ja, 4. Stimmt, stimmt. Ich hab grad Shizuka vergessen, dass wir es ja auch wussten. Das stimmt, Dex. Do I get to meet her today?
Well, she's not going to feed herself now, is she?
I guess not.
One thing's for sure. You couldn't possibly be any worse at feeding animals than you were at planting crops.
I shot Katashi an angry glare. By way of apology, Katashi offered me a hand up off the ground. Our break concluded, we headed back to the farm area. Oh, ich muss mal Pipi. Gehen wir mal kurz Pipi. Gehen wir ganz kurz Pipi. Hier, guckt euch die Schäfchen an. Bis gleich. Hallo. Na? So. Ich muss übrigens wirklich um 12 aufhören, weil ich mit dem Hund gehen muss. Weil meine Entscheidung war, gehe ich vor dem Stream mit ihm noch und muss dadurch nochmal einmal mehr am Tag gehen heute. Und dadurch wird der Stream noch später. Oder gehe ich um 12? Meine Entscheidung war eindeutig. Dankeschön, Dankeschön. Over the next few hours, I helped Katashi take care of the animals. Who knew the ship had so many on board? We had chickens, sheep and cows. Oh, moose auch. Some of which had rather unusual names. One particularly noisy sheep went by Cerbalot. Cerbalot. Ist das zufällig ein Baker? Konnte das gebaked werden? Who named these animals anyway? After Katashi and I finished our work, We made our way over to a nearby farm shed to put away the tools.
Thanks for all your hard work today.
I'm glad I could help. Katashi consulted his watch.
Whoa, it's getting late. You should go get some sleep, champ.
Champ! I will good night, Katashi.
Sweet dreams.
I'm made of these. Danke, danke. As I headed back towards my quarters, my muscles were already beginning to feel sore from all the farm work. Growing up on the shuttle, I'd never had to perform such labor-intensive activities, so it came as quite a shock to my system. Once I finally arrived at my room, I was fast asleep as soon as my head hit the pillow. Ja, Dex, ich traue den auch allen überhaupt nicht. Ich glaube, ich bin einfach ein Versuchsobjekt. Muss hier jetzt nicht schon der Tag sein? I woke up with what felt like an information hangover. It seemed my headache from earlier in the week was starting to return as the deletion game edged closer. I didn't have any time to waste. I only had one more day to acquire the clues I needed to help me survive this round. Who should I check in with today? Wir haben genug, oder? Ich meine, Ai kann mir nicht helfen. Aber Ai bringt uns generell weiter. Deswegen glaube ich, bringt es nichts, wenn wir zum Kapitän gehen. Weil die gibt uns einfach nur einen Hinweis. Ich schieße auf die 6. Die 2. Instead of scrambling, maybe I should go straight to the source. Nee, ich will den Captain. Also ich will Captain nicht. Die ist mir zu komisch. Irgendwas ist mit der. When I looked at my tablet, however, I noticed that I was nowhere to be seen. Huh, I never realized that I wasn't listed. I cleared my throat. I materialized in front of me.
Good morning.
Morgan! Why is your location omitted from the ship's navigation app?
There are 2 reasons for this. First, my hardware is integrated into the Everett's AI system at all times. In that sense, I never technically move anywhere. Second, my holographic interface allows crew members to summon me in an instant from anywhere aboard the ship. As a result, my location is something of a moot point.
I guess that makes sense. Have you found any new information about the deactivation code?
Unfortunately, I have not.
I should have guessed it. I should have guessed it wouldn't be that easy. I gave me an apologetic look and I tried my best to cheer her up. Don't sweat it, I'm sure we'll figure it out if we keep looking. I brightened a little, but still seemed disappointed she wasn't able to find anything. At that point, I remembered something I'd been meaning to ask I've been thinking a lot about your programming lately, and I have a question. If you have a synthetic emotional response, can you feel love? Could we just disable your program completely and manually control the ship? Kannst du Liebe spüren? Das habe ich ja gerade.
It allows me to simulate love, yes.
Das reicht uns, oder? Das also simulieren reicht, oder? Ich meine, wenn das Klischee, dass man Orgasmus vortäuscht, den meisten Männern ausreicht, dann sollte uns simulierte Liebe doch auch reichen, oder? Have you experienced it yet? Is it different from human love?
I have not. Even if I had, however, I am incapable of feeling human love. Therefore, I would be unable to differentiate the 2.
Huh, that's a good point.
As of right now, I have not met the required parameters for me to experience love.
Wir brennen einfach mit Ei durch. It seems cruel to program synthetic emotions if they can only allow you to feel simulated love.
How is my simulation any different? Human love is tied to your biological programming, just as mine is bound to my synthetic programming.
Auf Deutsch, auf geht's, wir brauchen keine menschlichen Beziehungen mehr, wir bauen uns einfach unsere eigenen Partner.
It may not be exactly the same, but does that make my experience any less real than my human counterparts?
Können wir sie als Kanzlerin haben? Of course not. Forgive me, I didn't mean to offend you.
No offense taken.
Sie kann man nicht rein. Ja, weil die blöd ist. Blöde Kuh. After a brief awkward pause, I try to break the ice by redirecting my question back at me.
So, have you experienced love?
Ja, in dem Moment, dass ich dich das erste Mal sah. I love my parents, of course, but not in a romantic sense.
That's a shame. I was hoping you could provide me with more information about the experience.
Don't worry, we can be a couple of loveless fools together. Aber Bumsi geht, ja? Actually, now that I think of it, technically each day, everyone on this ship experiences love.
Oh?
Well, your name is Ai, and if I remember correctly, doesn't that mean love in Japanese? Ja, das Thema hatten wir bei Ai schon, also dem Spiel Ai.
That is correct. I see the humor in your joke.
Is that why you were called Ai?
Unfortunately not. I was issued the name I because I am Artificial Intelligence, Unit Everett, Model Number 11037.
Leoi oder Leoli oder Leoil oder ist auf jeden Fall Leo. Sie heißt jetzt Leo. So your name is I because you are an AI system, so they just shortened it to I.
That is correct.
Der Entwickler war nicht sehr einfallsreich. That seems so impersonal. After all, I assume you're not the only AI system in existence.
I am one of hundreds currently in service.
But you're the only one servicing the Everett, right?
That is correct.
Leo der Zweite. Stimmt, Leo der Zweite ist ein guter Punkt. Das ist gut. It's a little late now. I would have personally called you Eve, short for Everett, because you are the heart and soul of the ship. I blushed at my words. Warum wird sie rot?
That is incredibly considerate of you.
Maybe in the next life, huh? I smiled at I playfully.
As an AI system, I suspect that I will not experience what humans fondly refer to as reincarnation.
Du meinst Leonie, oder? You never know.
I would enjoy that.
I flashed me a warm smile.
Is there anything else I can help you with?
Actually, there is. You can see everything that Dai does, right?
Yes, that is correct.
Ja, wahrscheinlich wirklich Dex. Deswegen wahrscheinlich auch Everett. Vielleicht war das jetzt so ein Hint, dass man halt darüber nachdenkt. Dass auch die Leute, die halt nicht so auf die Namen gucken. Kann ich mir vorstellen. Then you already know all of the clues.
I do.
Then couldn't you tell us the answer for this round of the deletion game?
That is an interesting point. However, knowing where everyone is would not prevent someone from losing the game.
But you could tell me my position so that I don't shoot myself.
I could.
Would you mind telling me where I am?
It wouldn't be fair to give you an advantage.
Das will ich ja auch eigentlich gar nicht. What if you tell everyone their position? Then it wouldn't be unfair.
That is sound reasoning. According to my system, you are...
Uh-oh.
Whoa, whoa, whoa!
Klar.
I don't think so, sister.
War klar. Dai suddenly appeared where I had been standing only seconds before. Dai?
How could you?
Huh? How could I what?
You were trying to take advantage of poor, sweet, naive I, weren't you?
I was not taking advantage of her.
Really? You didn't just persuade her to try and help you with the deletion game?
Well, I did ask for help, but I didn't think that was against the rules.
It's officially against the rules. Tisk tisk. I, sweetie,
Tisk-tisk.
you really should have known better.
Ich liebe Dai. Dai turned her attention to me.
I like you,
Oh,
but
mach ich
I
auch.
need to set an example here.
Ich habe nicht ausgewählt, das ist die Frage. What do you mean?
Look, I can't have I interfering with the deletion game, so I need to make sure she understands this can't happen again.
Wir sind tot, oder?
It's been fun.
Suddenly I heard beeping from the door to my living quarters. Living Unit 7 is currently under lockdown. What are you doing? Oxygen levels in Living Unit 7 decreasing. Don't do this. I'm sorry. I asked I for help. What are you doing?
This isn't to punish you. It's to punish I.
I suddenly heard the captain's voice over my door intercom.
What's happening? Report at once! Unlock this door. Unlock this door at once!
When I tried to move towards the door, I found that I could hardly move my body. Ty kept pace with me as I struggled to move, crossing the distance with only a few languid steps. She gave me a curious look.
Your probability of winning the deletion game is sitting at a pitiful 0.01%. I guess it's time for me to bet on a different horse.
When next she spoke, I addressed I directly.
Do you see what you made me do, I?
I fought to keep my eyes open, but it was no use. The last thing I saw before it all faded to black was Dai's look of disappointment. Ich lebe?
Ah, wonderful. You're awake.
Hä?
Do you remember where you are? Hypoxia can affect your memory, but let's hope it stayed intact this time.
Oh, ich werde dran sterben, oder? I'm aboard the Everett, right?
What is your name?
My name is Ludo.
And what event is occurring tomorrow?
Deletion game.
Splendid. I shall go and report to the captain immediately.
Nicholas sprinted out of the medical bay. I appeared beside me the moment Nicholas left the room.
Are you okay?
Yeah, I think I'm okay.
That is a relief.
I smiled gently before concern returned to her face.
I am so sorry. I should have known better than to interfere with Dai's game.
Ich dachte auch, dass jetzt ein Ende kommt. No, this was my fault. I shouldn't have asked.
My actions almost resulted in your death.
Please don't blame yourself.
Dai didn't attempt to kill you because you broke the rules. She did so because I did.
Honestly, I'm fine. Are you okay? I took a moment to respond.
Mein Name ist Luna.
Thank you. My systems are fully functional.
Das hat nicht geklappt, Missy. Die Frau kann das nicht so gut. Aber danke für die 25 Bits, Missy. Vielen Dank. Dankeschön. Mein Name ist Luna. Die klingt immer so besoffen. Good. So everyone's final lesson learned. Hallo Lurker. How did I manage to survive?
I was able to regain control shortly after you passed out. Once that occurred, I turned the oxygen back on in your quarters. Need I remind you that it was my programming and access to the ship's controls that gave Dai the opportunity to kill you in the first place?
Sind wir jetzt alle Englisch drauf, weil wir gerade ein englisches Spiel spielen? Geht's also nicht nur mir so? Please don't blame yourself for things that were beyond your control. I would have been a goner if you hadn't intervened. I'm extremely grateful for you, to you for that.
Do you not understand?
Nur ich bin ein bisschen blöd. I do, thank you, I. Dieser Blick ist creepy. I blushed before continuing. Das Spiel ist einfach amazing. Hallo, I, du solltest reden. The captain is about to arrive once again. I'm sorry, Luna. Please be safe. With that, I disappeared, and the captain and Nicholas entered the medical bay. After what felt like forever, the captain stopped interrogating me, and Nicholas cleared me to return to my room. Oh. And Ludwig, die guckt die ganze Zeit so. Die ist voll needy. I hadn't been expecting to die until tomorrow at the earliest, so today's brush with death came as quite a surprise. I really needed to get some rest before the deletion game tomorrow. Naja, sie ist eine AI. Also sie ist eine KI, meine ich. Sind da solche, also, naja. I would have been so happy if this day had never arrived, but I knew that was just wishful thinking on my part. I woke with a start to the sound of Dice's announcement as it piped in over the ship's intercom.
Good morning, competitors. What a wonderful morning.
Yeah.
It's already shaping up to be a great day, don't you think?
Klar.
This is just a friendly reminder that in a mere 8 hours, the next round of the deletion game will begin. I hope you all have your clues ready. Die over and out.
Simulierte Lust, wow, wer weiß. Wide awake, I rolled onto my back and looked at the ceiling. It was a surreal feeling, knowing that today might be my last day. I was no closer to finding Dice's deactivation code, and to be honest, I didn't even know where to look. Alright, let's take another crack at this pocket watch. I recovered the pocket watch from my bedside table and headed to the lab. Ich wette, wir können in der Zeit reisen. Ich wette, wir sind Zeitreisende. I arrived to find the lab empty. I guess it makes sense that Vladimir would want to spend time with Melody before tonight. I brought out the box that contained my parents' research and started sifting through it again. There had to be something of use in here. Before too long, the floor of the lab was covered in papers, but nothing in particular was jumping out at me. I decided to try booting up what appeared to be my father's tablet. Hä? Tablet's locked? I didn't even know they had that function. I looked at the tablet closely. It needs a password. I wonder what my father would have used as a password. Maybe he was sentimental. I'll try my name. The tablet made an error sound. Of course it wasn't me. It wasn't me. He forgot to feed me after all. What about his birthday? The tablet made another error sound. Ah! What could it possibly be? I appeared in the lab with me.
Good morning.
Hallo, Ratchet. Ups, Nase. Passwort 123, ja, nee. Oh, hi, I.
My system has registered multiple attempts to access your father's tablet.
Ja, cool. Yeah, that's me, sorry.
Would you like his password?
Hä? Das ist sowas von einfach eine Light-Version von Zero Escape. Are you allowed to give it to me?
Yes. The moment a crew member passes away, their tablets become the property of the Everett. It is therefore well within regulations for me to give you access to your father's tablet.
Wonderful. What is the password?
Password.
Spielt alleine weiter. Ich habe keinen Bock mehr. Yeah, what is it?
Your father's password is password.
Seriously, if that's the best you can come up with, why would you even bother having one, Dad? Sheesh.
I did warn him that his password strength wasn't strong enough, but it appeared strong enough to keep you out.
Are you making fun of me, I? Hey, so guck nur die. A mysterious expression crept across I's face.
Yes. Am I being successful?
My response was dripping with sarcasm. Yeah, you're a real riot eye. Now let's get this damn thing open. I put in the password and the tablet immediately sprang to life. Wonderful, maybe there's something in here about his pocket watch.
There most certainly is.
How do you know?
Now that the tablet has connected to the network, I have access to all information on the tablet.
Danke für den Clip, Dominik. Or you can save me some time then. Would you mind pulling up any files related to the pocket watch?
I will transfer all relevant files onto your tablet. One moment, please. Transfer is complete.
I opened my tablet and confirmed that she'd already isolated and transferred the files to my tablet. Oopsie. Thank you so much, I. You're a lifesaver. I would have been here all day trying to locate those files without your help.
My pleasure. If you would excuse me, I am being requested in the engineering bay.
Oh, stimmt. Das war zwar alle 5 Tage das Deletion Game, aber wir sind, glaube ich, am Deletion Game Tag da angestrandet. Deswegen ist der erste Tag bei uns nicht der erste Tag, wo das Deletion Game eingeführt wurde, sondern erst am 2., richtig? I was almost too involved with the tablet to say a proper goodbye to I. This information, there was so much on this watch. My parents had definitely been busy. Many worlds theory. Relocation of the human race. Hypothese, Mann, ne? For transferal of matter between parallel universes. Sweet science. Instead of traveling for multiple generations and taking a chance on successfully terraforming an alien planet, my parents were trying to relocate the entire human race into a different reality. And it looks like they may have gotten close. Ja, danke, Dex. Ja, Tobi, Paralleluniversen. This pocket watch is supposed to be a part of this puzzle. I read more of the notes. Pages and pages of notes. Alright, I think I understand. This pocket watch is a device that should allow this reality to connect with another in order to allow transfer of matter between realities. But how? Gradually, the pieces of the puzzle began to fall into place. I began reading aloud sections of notes. In theory, this timepiece should function like a time machine. In order to work, however, a stable time machine must already exist in both time frames. So we should be able to connect our version of reality to another if this device exists there too. Boah, das macht... Oh mein Gott, das macht das ja richtig scheiße. Das heißt auf Deutsch, wenn wir hier lang gehen, wir haben ja hier irgendwo die Time Watch gefunden, wahrscheinlich hier oder so. Wir sind ja Chapter 1. Das heißt, wenn wir die Time Watch nicht kaputt machen, dann heißt das, wir können von hier praktisch nach da springen. Das heißt, wir müssen jede Scheiße durchmachen, dass wir alles wissen, um bei dem letzten Strang, also dem ersten, dem guten Strang, alle Infos rüber zu schiffen. Viel Erfolg, Missy. But how do we connect these devices across the divide of time and space? I must have spent hours going through my parents' notes. They never once mentioned how to connect to another reality, only that the watch was required. Ah, and I thought we were getting somewhere. Why isn't there more information? Suddenly the intercom rang out.
Greetings, competitors! I must request that you all make your way to the dining hall so we can begin this round of the deletion game. It'll be starting in 5 minutes, so don't be late!
Bei dem Spiel ja, Lurker, leider. Also, wir sind auf einem Raumschiff, wir sind 10 Leute und eine KI, die verrückt spielt. Die gerade geredet hat, ist die böse Seite der KI und die versucht uns alle umzubringen, um Ressourcen zu sparen. Wir allerdings auf der anderen Seite sind halt auf diesem Raumschiff und versuchen, die Menschheit zu retten, weil wir irgendwie die letzten Überlebenden sind. Und das jetzt gerade war eine Theorie, die meine toten Eltern, die nicht mehr auf dem Raumschiff sind, aufgestellt haben, dass es verschiedene Paralleluniversen gibt und dass man da Leute hinretten kann. Und in diesem Spiel hast du halt verschiedene Zeitstränge, ich weiß nicht, ob es Zeitstränge sind, aber einfach verschiedene, wahrscheinlich Realitäten dann, wo verschiedene Dinge passieren. So. Although the situation was grave, I really didn't have time for dice games right now. After putting away the tablet, I made my way to the dining hall. By the time I arrived, everyone had already assembled outside. Die Menschheit retten alle 10. Nee, wir brauchen einen neuen Planeten, auf dem wir leben können, weißt du? Das war das irgendwie. Nee, wir sind 10 mit Ei. Dai gehört nicht dazu, aber Ei gehört dazu. Komm zurück, Missy.
It's about time, Slowpoke. Okay, just to make sure everyone's on the same page, here's how this is going to work. Players will be represented by ships numbered 1 to 9 with 2 health points apiece.
Und wir spielen halt alle 5 Tage oder so ein Deletion Game, ein sogenanntes, damit einer, der Verlierer, davon getötet wird, weil sie uns umbringen will. Die mit den roten Augen, die Die heißt, ist halt die böse KI. Die andere versucht uns zu helfen, darf sie aber nicht. Und jetzt haben wir so ein Deletion Game und das sind halt die Regeln für dieses eine spezifische Deletion Game.
You'll each have one missile at your disposal to fire at a target of your choice. The first player whose ship is shot twice will be eliminated.
Yay! Die made a slow show of consulting her bare wrist before continuing.
The door will be opening shortly, so get ready. Pray, cry, beg for mercy, whatever floats your boat.
Ja, die sind die ganze Zeit schon so. Die sind seit, keine Ahnung, 2 Wochen oder so. Aber Dankeschön.
Oh, one more thing. Only one person will be permitted to enter the dining hall at a time, and since it's first come, first serve, dawdling's a surefire way to wind up dead. Everyone got it?
Yes, Die. We all understand. Just get on with it.
Menschheit retten, alle 10, alle 5 Tage eintöten. Genau, genau.
Oh, eager are we? I love it. All right then, I officially declare the third round of the Deletion Games Logi ship open for business.
Yay!
Welcome. I hope you find everything to your liking.
Immer noch. Adopting the attitude of a gracious new shop owner, Die invited her petrified customers in with a theatralischen wave of her hand. So. Beatrix, unfazed by Die's little routine, was in and out before anyone else could react. She really did mean business. Waiting wasn't going to make things any easier for me at this point. I had the most information I was ever going to have and I needed to make my selection as soon as possible. The door shut behind me as I entered the dining hall.
Welcome. Please make your selection on the screen before you.
Okay. Wir wissen, wo Nikolas ist. Wir wissen, wo Beatrix ist. Wir wissen, wo Melody ist. Wir wissen, wo Shizuka ist. Wir haben noch 5 andere Zahlen, die wir wählen können. Wollen wir Melody wählen? Oder wollen wir gamblen? Echt? Ja, gut, das ist halt das Kind, ne? Aber wir können auch Yoshiki treffen. Ich kann echt alles auswählen. Oh, ich liebe die Geräusche. Das ist das gleiche Geräusch wie bei Stardew Valley, wenn man eine Frucht sammelt. Okay, weg mit Melody. Ich verstehe schon, Chat. Ihr habt das auf dem Gewissen, ne?
Thank you for your selection, and thank you for choosing Die's Deletion Game as your preferred population restriction method.
Ich wurde nicht gefragt.
Please exit the room and await this round's results.
I left the room and watched as one after another everyone else went in to shoot their missiles.
In an unexpected turn of events, it would appear that everyone has chosen to attack in the first 15 minutes, which brings this round to an end. Who'd have thought that you were all so eager to kill each other? Well, who am I to argue? Give the people what they want, right?
Right?
Let's get straight to the results.
Ich wollte sogar die 2 wählen. Und es wäre Yoshiki gewesen. Oh mein Gott. Ist das eigentlich deren Ernst? Ist es deren Ernst? So ohne Scheiß, jetzt Melody verliert ihre Mutter und dann den Vater? Oh, ist das eklig. Spiel, du bist so scheiße.
Better me than Melody, I guess.
Ich habe sie nicht gewählt. Ich schwöre, ich habe sie nicht gewählt, also.
Papa, what is it?
Sweetie, Papa has to go and join Mommy for a while, okay?
Melody's face fell as she realized what was happening. Tears began to form in the corners of her eyes.
No, Papa, stay.
Captain, I'm going to entrust Melody to your care, okay?
Of course. I'll do my best to keep her safe.
No, Papa, I'm scared. Please don't go.
Ey, jetzt, ich krieg Pipi in die Augen. Warum? Melody's desperation was palpable as she implored her father not to go. Vladimir picked up Melody, doing his best to comfort her under the circumstances.
Don't go. Please. I'll be better.
Sweetie, you haven't done anything wrong.
I promise I'll eat my vegetables. I won't fight anymore. I'll pick up my toys. I promise, Papa. I promise.
Melody.
What?
Please don't go with Mommy. Stay with me instead.
Oh,
Machen
how
wir das weg. Kann ich.
touching. Sorry
Oh.
to disappoint, kiddo, but your daddy has a date with the wheel!
Danke, Dai. Kannst du bitte einfach weiterreden? With that, Dai summoned the dreaded wheel and gave it a spin. Eventually, the arrow slowed and came to rest on drinking.
Congratulations!
Vladimir, might I say I added this one just for you. Today you shall face death by drinking.
Is this a joke, Dai?
Warum muss ich immer so tun, als wäre ich die?
What? No.
Vladimir, you're going to spend your last moments enjoying your favorite beverage, vodka!
I can think of worse ways to go.
See, Captain, I do so much for you guys. Even when I go through all the trouble of adding fun new ways to die, all you do is complain. This is why you'll never get a boyfriend.
Dai stuck her tongue out at the captain. So, wenn jetzt Melody nochmal kommt, dann dreh ich durch.
Well, let's head over to the kitchen together.
Dai marched us all to the kitchen. Melody cheerfully clung to Vladimir the entire way there. Wodka ist
Here
Feuer,
we
definitiv,
are.
ja.
Alright, sweetie. It's time to go to the captain.
Melody screamed and refused to let go.
Melody, please. Kimiko will take care of you, okay? Everything will be fine.
Können wir uns darauf einigen, dass wir gleich jemand anders schießen? Vladimir peeled Melody off of him and handed her over to the captain.
Alright, Dai. How do you want me to do this?
Such a gentleman. Well, good sir, I need you to get your blood alcohol concentration up to about 0.45. Now, would you be a dear and go get the vodka from the pantry so we can get started?
Vladimir walked over and grabbed a 0.5 little bottle of vodka from the pantry.
Excellent. So, taking into account your weight and sex...
Sie hat Sex gesagt. Dai rubbed her chin pensively for a moment before replying.
You need to drink about 1 liter within an hour period to reach a lethal BAC of 0.45. There are 1.5 liters in there, so 1 bottle should be more than enough. An hour seems a bit too long, though. Oh, I have an idea. Why don't you just down the bottle all at once?
Challenge accepted.
Haben die den ernsthaft glücklich gesagt?
Wow, really? Man, this is fun.
Vladimir hefted the bottle and paused to examine it. His eyes took on a distant, wistful expression as he absent-mindedly traced the contours of the bottle.
I remember when Sora and I used to drink together. Australians and their alcohol. She taught me this drinking song that Australians like to sing before slugging back their drinks. I'll see you shortly, dear. This is for you.
Der genießt seinen Tod nicht, der versucht einfach normal rüberzukommen für seine Tochter. Vladimir lifted his bottle of vodka and salute. He cleared his throat.
Here's to Vladimir, he's true blue. He's a peace pot through and through. He's a legend, so they say. Should have gone to heaven, but he went the other way, singing down, 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 down.
With those words, Vladimir began chugging the entire bottle of vodka. He managed to finish it in just a minute or two.
What a time to be alive! That was amazing, Vladimir.
Kannst du bitte einen anderen Spruch bringen als What a time to be alive? Dai applauded him enthusiastically.
Now we get to sit back and enjoy the show. Don't be shy, he isn't dead yet. Please go about your day as normal in this room under my supervision. Come to think of it, I guess that would be pretty difficult, huh? Silly me.
Beatrix made her way to the pantry and pulled out a second, smaller bottle.
What's that?
Vodka, what do you think it is?
Why do you need vodka?
It's rude to let a man drink alone.
Beatrix, you were always one of my favorites.
Beatrix took a seat at the center island opposite Vladimir.
Would you like another drink?
One more won't hurt now, will it?
I guess not.
Ich traue ihr nicht, sie ist Ärztin. Hat sie ihm irgendwas, also ist es irgendwas Anti-Dingsig, dass das aus dem Körper rauskommt? Die rettet ihn doch. Vor allem, wer hindert die Leute daran, den Magen auszupumpen? Er darf doch seinen Tag einfach normal begehen. Das heißt doch, die können einfach in das Medical Bay rein und sie kann ihm den Magen auspumpen, oder nicht? Beatrix poured herself a drink along with another for Vladimir. It wasn't long before the alcohol started taking effect. The rest of us could do little more than stand around the kitchen, unable to leave and powerless to prevent Vladimir's death.
Melody, sweetie, listen to Kimiko, okay?
Melody had stopped crying and was now more confused than anything else.
Okay, Papa.
You really suck. You know that?
You know that?
Don't say things you can't take back.
Dad pretended to be offended by Vladimir's insult.
I don't want to take it back.
Yeah, Dai, you suck.
Beatrix. Dai raised an eyebrow in Beatrix's direction.
You haven't been handed a death sentence just yet, Beatrix, but don't tempt me.
Beatrix looked at Dai before bursting into laughter.
Don't look so serious, Dai. You'll give yourself wrinkles.
Yourself? Yourself?
Really? That would be horrible.
Dai started fussing with her face, trying to prevent the onset of wrinkles. 20 minutes later, an extra few bottles of wine, which Beatrix and Vladimir explained was for good measure, Vladimir took his last breath. So einfach geht es mit Alkohol zu sterben?
Well, that sure got boring towards the end, didn't it? I guess I can't have fun all the time, right? Either way, everyone is free to leave. Class dismissed.
Well, it was fun, comrade.
Beatrix tipped her glass at Vladimir before falling off her chair stone drunk.
All right, Beatrix. It's time I got you into bed.
Nicholas hoisted Beatrix off the floor and began to carry her out of the kitchen. Ich weiß es auch nicht. Also irgendwie kommt mir das so unrealistisch vor. Keine Ahnung. Before he could proceed very far, however, Beatrix began poking his face with her extended forefinger.
Why are you always so serious, Nikki?
Because one of us needs to be.
Der kann es haben. Ach so, der konnte es nicht, der stirbt einfach gleich. Gut. Nicht, wenn es zu schnell geht.
Say goodnight, Beatrix.
Good night.
Good night. Das war jetzt irgendwie auch, also als Melody gesagt hat, so ja, ich esse auch mein Gemüse, ich räume auch mein Spielzeug weg. Sowas ist richtig schlimm, weil man weiß selbst ja, sie kann nichts dafür, dass der Vater jetzt stirbt und sie würde aber alles tun und das ist wirklich, also das war wirklich böse, da habe ich wirklich Pipi in den Augen gehabt, aber das ist jetzt nicht traurig, das Ende. Also sein Ende. Nicholas carried Beatrix out of the kitchen while the captain tried to explain to Melody the gravity of the situation. So.
Melody, your father's gone to sleep, but he won't be waking up.
What?
He's gone to go see your mother now. So you should say goodnight to him and come with me.
Although Melody looked confused, she... Wie soll ich denn das Wort aussprechen? To the captain's request, too tired and emotionally worn out to argue with her. Melody walked up to her father's body, currently slumped against the kitchen island, and wrapped her tiny arms around him in a hug.
Good night, Papa.
Good night, Vladimir.
Yoshiki, could you give me a hand? We can move him into the medical bay for the time being.
Yeah, of course.
Könnt ihr den nicht wiederbeleben?
You, Shizuka, you two should head off and get some rest.
Can do.
I left with Shizuka and we made our way back to our respective rooms. As I crawled into bed and closed my eyes, I swore I could still hear Vladimir singing. Chapter 2. Ich glaube nicht, dass wir das gute Ende haben, also den guten Strang. Ich glaube nicht, dass das Gute ist. Was sind das für Dinge? I drifted awake, slowly forgetting my dreams of clocks and vodka. There was an odd sound, nothing mechanical, it sounded like a human noise. It was crying. Someone was in my quarters or just outside, sobbing loudly. I got out of bed and turned on the light. There was no sign of the crying person in my room, but I could still hear them. I opened the door to look outside. More Atemstillstand. It was Melody. She was sitting on the floor outside my room, crying loudly and breathing in labored, squeaky little breath in danger of hyperventilation. Hallo, nicht David. Im All, ja. Hä, warum? Muss ich mich jetzt um das Kind kümmern? Okay, wir machen sofort weg. I sat down on the floor to be at her level. Also, wir machen sofort den Strang weg. It's alright, look, I'm here now. It seemed stupid to ask why she was crying. I decided to focus on helping her stop crying, or at least breathe properly. It would help if I could get her to talk. What are you doing here? Where's the captain?
I'm sorry. I wanted to see you.
Nee, den Strang, damit ich das Kind nicht hab. Well, that's okay. You can always come and see me. Anytime you want. Ja, die Frequenz ist sehr schön bei ihr.
I sneaked out of the captain's room. She was sleeping. I'm sorry.
Also wenn das Deutsch wäre, dann wüsste ich eine Streamerin, die das machen könnte. Oh. 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 Ja, mega toll, ne? Don't worry about that. We'll tell her in the morning. Kopfplatte, ja. But why did you want to see me? Don't you like being with the captain?
You got the same uniform as Daddy.
Sie fängt mit M an, ja.
That makes me happy.
Lustig, Melody. Fängt auch mit M an. She was wiping her eyes while she was talking, trying to make her tears go away. She was still crying, but at least she had enough air in her lungs to form almost complete sentences. Tja, Missy. Come inside and sleep in my bed. Okay. Ja, locker. Es könnte sein. I let Melody in ahead of me, and she went straight to the bed, getting in and sliding herself under the covers. I got in beside her and she immediately hugged me. I hugged back, figuring she'd feel safe with arms around her. Ich sag doch, ich werde ihre... Warum muss ich mich jetzt ums Kind kümmern?
Monkey?
Was, hat sie mich gerade Affe genannt? Ich mag Affen. Ja?
You're warm.
Wieso nennt sie mich Affe? So are you. You try to go to sleep now, okay?
Okay.
I lay there, holding her, gently stroking her head, and it wasn't long before she fell asleep, and in no time at all, so did I. Dominik, hör auf, das ist gerade ein Kind. Someone was touching my face. A finger was tapping my cheek and then my nose. Not hard enough to hurt, just soft little pokes.
Monkey, it's time to wake up.
149,5 Kilo. Ja, der war halt schon also ein bisschen So, also breit gebaut wollte ich. Also ich wollte meine Schultern gerade ein bisschen breiter machen.
Monkey!
Warum heiße ich Affe? I open my eyes. Who's poking me? It's a monster. Melody giggled and I reached out to grab her into a hug. I caught you, monster! Melody squealed and giggled, hugging me back. Oh, it's a nice monster.
You're silly!
Monkeys are very silly. Ich bin eigentlich Affe, kann sein. I didn't really need help getting dressed, but I let Melody hand me things, and once I was ready, I brushed and fixed her hair for her. Well, monster, what do you want to do this morning?
I'm hungry. But I also want to say sorry to the captain for running away.
Well, those are both important priorities. Which should we do first?
You pick.
Okay, let's... My stomach grumbled and Melody giggled.
Your tummy wants to find breakfast.
Also, Entschuldigung, du kannst Welt retten, essen und Krieg verhindern in der Reihenfolge machen. Bei mir wäre trotzdem Essen, okay? Ohne auf leeren Magen macht man sowas nicht gut. I think you're right. We can go say sorry to the captain later. We can apologize on a full stomach. Genau das. Melody beamed her eyes open wide.
Yay! Do you think Katashi will be there?
You like Katashi, huh?
He's nice and fun.
Ja, und sein Oberkörper. So it's not because he gives you food?
He has yummy things.
892 Milliliter, okay. Richtig lecker. That's why I like him too. Come on, let's go see if he's in the kitchen. Melody chattered at me as we walked about all the different kinds of food Katashi made.
And lots of kinds of cake and yummy stuff like that. And bananas.
Warte mal, warum redest du von Bananen? Du magst Karotten.
We're here.
Achso, weil ich ein Affe bin, okay. Melody ran on ahead and into the kitchen. I followed at my own pace. Arriving at the door, I could hear Katashi and Melody inside.
I'm a monster today.
Hallo, Shaggies.
A monster? Well, I don't know if I have any monster food.
Muss ich mit Katashi Melody großziehen?
Monsters like bananas.
I don't know. I always thought monsters like broccoli.
No, they only eat bananas. And cake.
Well, just to be safe, I'd better make you a broccoli cake.
No, yuck.
Also ich liebe Brokkoli, aber einen Brokkolikuchen. Obwohl, es gibt doch, wie heißen die? Quiche. Ist doch auch, also irgendwie wie ein Kuchen.
I must have learned all the wrong things about monsters. I guess I'd better catch one and study it.
Tobi, ich glaube, es ging eher darum, dass also Wodka so tödlich ist, heißt auf Deutsch, du musst nicht 5 Flaschen davon trinken. Pula Elefant, hallo. Nein, ist kein Hentai-Spiel. Das ist gerade ein kleines Mädchen, das essen möchte. Ah, danke, dass du da warst, Torfi. Und schönen Abend ja auch noch. Also beziehungsweise eine gute Nacht dann. Träumchen, schlaf gut und eine angenehme Erholung wünsche ich dir. Lass dich nicht ärgern. Danke, dass du da warst. Kann sie nicht bei ihm bleiben?
I'm gonna get you, monster! Gotcha! Now, let's see if monsters like being upside down.
Katze namens Wodka. I hadn't thought of Katashi as someone who'd play games with a child, but he was and it sounded pretty adorable. Dominik ist ein Kind. Das kann nicht an so viele Sachen gleichzeitig denken. Das fängt gleich wieder an zu heulen, sobald es erinnert wird. I went into the kitchen hoping to witness it, but as I came in, Katashi had just put Melody down. He straightened when he saw me.
Hello, I'm just cooking right now.
Kinda sounded like we were chasing monsters.
No, I'm working. See, there's flour there and also a knife and such. So, to what do I owe the privilege of your visit?
Ich hab Hunger, Mann. Well, this monster and I were hungry, so we decided to launch an expedition to the kitchen.
Oh, so you want food? Is that all I'm good for?
Kann man für mehr gut sein als nur für Essen? Also vor allem nur. Nein, niemals. Was gibt's zum Frühstück? Don't you know the way to a woman's heart? Through her stomach. Genau das. Oh, I haven't yet experienced you. Ja, da sehe ich. Da. Auf geht's, auf geht's.
You never said you were interested in seeing my full portfolio.
I'd like to see it. Is it extensive?
It is. I'm open to the idea of sharing it with you at a later time.
Was? Perhaps if you have the skills I require.
Oh, is there a specific job you're hiring for?
I have a position that needs filling. Was? Katashi blinked twice, but was surprised by how far I was taking the metaphor. Yeah, Melly had been listening to the whole time, and she latched onto the only part of the conversation that she understood. Was zur Hölle? Was ist mit mir?
What's in your portfolio?
Well, I'm not just a good cook and a good gardener. I'm also good at, listening.
Warum? Also wir haben jetzt wirklich nichts Explizites gesagt. Das war alles, also völlig... Ich sag nur der Sex and the City Film. Von wegen... der ist wirklich sehr gut im... Es sind Kinder anwesend. Im Ausmalen. Also wenn ich ausmale, male ich immer über den Rand aus.
I have a portfolio. All my pictures are in it.
Deins will ich nicht.
It's not for other things I can do.
Haha, a portfolio can be for lots of things.
If Katashi put a cake in his portfolio, wouldn't it get squashed?
Maybe I could take a picture of the cake I made.
I could draw a picture and write if it was a good cake.
That would be helpful. And maybe Newbie can review the rest of my extensive capabilities.
Katashi winked at me.
Yahoo! Everyone's favorite AI system is here. My, it's a beautiful day, isn't it? It would be such a shame if someone were to mention the deletion game.
Ha 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 ha.
Ahem. Could I please have all crew report to the dining hall for briefing immediately? That is all.
Also ich finde, ich mache das gut. Of all the times for Dai to interrupt a conversation. We didn't even eat yet. Come on, little monster.
Is Dai gonna make someone else go away forever and ever?
I don't think so. She's probably just gonna tell us about a new game.
I hate dice games.
Me too, kiddo. Come on, we better go.
Das klang jetzt wie Dice Games. Ist ja also Würfelgames. Circa 100 Jahre, passt auch. Melody walked with me, holding my hand, but I soon noticed she had slowed down, almost to a stop. I looked down and found that she was crying silently, trying to wipe her face with her empty hand and pretend like she wasn't crying. You go ahead. No sense us all getting Dai's wrath. Katashi stayed where he was.
Are you scared, Melody?
Melody nodded, tears still running down her cheeks.
It's all right. You have her with you, and she's very brave and strong. She'll take care of you.
Warte, stopp. Den letzten Satz streichen wir, okay, aber... Ich passe nicht auf... Es hieß die Kapitänin, nicht ich. Das stimmt nicht. You know what? I'm very scared too. Ja, dass ich auf dich aufpassen muss. This attracted Melody's interest and she stopped wiping her face to look at me.
Really?
Really, but I'm going to use my very bravest face and pretend like I'm not. And pretending to be brave makes you brave.
She's right. Maybe you can pretend until you feel brave too.
Let's be brave together, okay? You and me. We'll help each other be as brave as we can be.
Okay. But what if Dai makes you go away?
That's a Drohung. Then you have Katashi and the captain and lots of other people to be brave with, right, Katashi?
That's right.
Okay, I'll try.
Das Kind ist wirklich hart im Nehmen. Good girl, come on, let's go and show Dai how brave we are. Melody gripped my hand tighter and walked closer to me. But at least she had stopped crying and was trying her hardest to be brave. Der hat entweder einen kleinen Bruder mal gehabt oder er hatte auch einen Sohn oder so. Der ist viel zu gut da drin. Jetzt müssen wir noch das Kind... Ja, das will ich ja auch die ganze Zeit. Damit ich diese Synchronstimme nicht mehr hören muss. Our short stop hadn't made us late. Okay, also nicht die Synchronstimme ist das Problem, sondern die Mikroqualität. Only the captain and Shizuka were already in the dining hall. Melody immediately tucked my arm and shyly pointed at Kimiko. I led her over to talk to the captain.
Hello, Melody. You had a sleepover with, didn't you?
Didn't you? With her hättest du sagen müssen. Also diese Synchronisation haben sie echt nicht fertig bekommen. Das war, ich glaube, Corona-bedingt nicht so einfach.
I'm sorry I sneaked away. I wanted to sleep with Monkey. I'm sorry. I still like you, Captain. Promise.
Okay, jetzt stellt euch vor, diesen Satz hätte ein normaler, also nicht normaler, aber ein erwachsener Mensch gesagt. Ich wollte mit ihr schlafen, aber ich mag dich immer noch. Schwieriges Spiel. I'm sorry, I should have told you, but it was so late. She just showed up at my door.
It's all right. I panicked for a moment, but I remembered pretty quickly I could just use my tablet to find her. I knew she'd be safe in your room.
Melody had climbed into the seat between the captain and I. The others had all come in while we'd been talking. Würde sie nicht eher bei Katashi und mir sitzen wollen? Also wenn es jetzt ein richtiges Kind wäre und nicht eine Figur in einem Videospiel, würde sie doch neben Katashi und mir sitzen wollen. Dai suddenly appeared in front of us.
Hey. Good morning, kids. We've
Hi.
got a long week ahead of us, so let's get started.
Ist das die Option? Warte mal. Ich versuche immer noch rauszufinden, wie man Autoplay kriegt. Achso, und das ist Tablet. Es gibt kein Auto.
Before I begin, I have a message. For the owner of a large deep space vessel, you have left your headlights on. Repeat, the owner of a large deep space vessel, you have left your lights on.
Gibt's, glaube ich, nicht. Ich ignoriere das jetzt. Ich ignoriere ihre Witze. Sie ist unlustig, die Frau.
What does that mean?
It's a joke. Dai, just get on with it, please.
Rude as always. I wish my humor was appreciated. This whole experience would be much worse if I was a cold killer.
Kann das Spiel sich entscheiden? Ich hatte noch nie so schlechte Untertitel-Synchronisationsmischung.
All right, I can't hold in the excitement any longer. Welcome to round 4 of the deletion game, Bidding Wars.
Ja!
I have noticed a certain lack of... what's the word?
Ich fühle mich ein bisschen, als ob ich Jackbox spiele, nur dass jede Runde einer stirbt.
Teamwork! So I have specifically designed this game to help us grow as a crew, but more importantly, as a family. We have to work as a team and trust one another if we are to get through this together.
Cut the crap, Dai. One of us will die. Teamwork is not on the cards.
Es gab doch sogar bei Jackbox ein Spiel, das Bidding Wars hieß, oder? Todesöffnung, ja klar.
Well, it is now, 'cause I said so. If you would all please turn your attention to your tablet devices, I have made you a short video on the rules.
Yeah! Bidding Wars is played by 8 players. Team will allocate a captain. Must your team captain is a secret only your team will know. The game will be played over 3 battles for points. Each battle your team gains 10 points to allocate amongst the 4 of you. Points can be allocated freely amongst the team. Every battle, at least 2 team members must be allocated a minimum of 1 point each. Team members will then be ranked highest to lowest. Then face off with the opposing team in the same order, with each highest number being awarded to the team and individual. After 3 consecutive battles, the war ends and the team with least points will lose. The player in the losing team with the lowest individual score will be executed. In the case of a tie for last place, only the team captain will be executed. But if after 3 battles the teams are tied, both team captains will be executed. Remember, win the war, not the battle. Good luck. Ist es nicht gegen die Regeln, 2 auf einmal zu töten?
So the game will be played, and the bidding wars end on Sunday, a week from now. This is pretty exciting, right?
Nein! Aber eine ganze Woche?
Na?
Ups. Ja, alles gut.
So let the game begin. This is going to be great. I love teamwork, don't you? Now it's time to get into our teams and start talking strategy. Team A will be you, Kimiko, Katashi, and Yoshiki.
Ja, Melody's nicht bei uns. Sure. Oh no, that meant Melody was on the other team. Oh yes, meinst du?
And Team B will be Beatrix, Nicholas, Melody, and Shizuka.
Aber sie hat Shizuka. Aber wir haben Katashi. Can't Melody be on my... Nein!
All decisions are final.
Danke.
I want to be with Monkey.
Das ist okay. Ist okay, wir können uns ja auch ab und zu noch treffen. Also wir sind ja nicht aus der Welt, weißt du. Ab und zu mal so einmal im Monat zum Essen treffen reicht doch, oder?
No negotiation. The teams have been set. My word is final.
This is low die.
All right. Team A needs time to strategize. Team B, get out.
I don't want to go with them.
Team B, get your short member under control before I do.
Bei Beatrix, Nikolas, wie heißt er nochmal? Nikolas? Nikolai? Nikolas? Ich weiß nicht, ist auch egal. Auf jeden Fall die beiden Vogels. Shizuka und Yoshiki. Das sind nicht die besten Kindersitter, jetzt mal ganz ehrlich. Nikolai, echt? Nee, da ist auch Nikolas Vogel, oder? Wer sie in unserem Team, könnten wir sie absichtlich umbringen. Nee, eigentlich ja nicht. Ist einfacher, wenn sie Team-Captain ist. It's gonna be okay, Melody, I promise. You go with the others. Ja, Nikolas, ne?
I don't wanna.
She's a child, Dai. She doesn't understand all this.
I wasn't this problematic as a child.
Du warst nie Ja, doch, warst du natürlich. Tut mir leid.
You were a child?
Of course I was. And I was adorable at that.
I could see the captain roll her eyes at Yoshiki as Yoshiki began gushing about how cute Dai would have been as a child. I turned my attention back to Melody. Versteht ihr warum? Also, Yoshiki.
Melody, maybe you could come help me in the medic bay. That's
Nicholas.
always fun, right?
We can play games, okay? And you'll be back with in no time.
Könnt ihr aufhören, das einfach als Pause zu machen? Ich find's gut, dass sie das bei der Kleinen gemacht haben, dass sie mich immer Monkey nennt. Und dass Kashiki, ist egal, der Typ halt mich immer Champ nennt und dass Beatrix mich immer Sailor nennt.
I don't wanna play games.
Okay. Kind, ich kenne so ein Verhalten. Aber das ist nur okay, wenn du meine Nichte bist. Melody had started bawling, unable to get her words out clearly. Remember what we agreed about being brave together? Melody nodded as she sobbed. Well, I think I can be brave because I'm with the captain and she's very brave, but Shizuka and the others don't have anyone. I think they need your help more than I do. Can you be brave for them? Melody nodded again. Good girl. I promise to take care of myself if you promise to take care of your team, okay?
Okay.
Shizuka held out her hand and Melody slowly went to her, looking back at me. I put on my best, everything will be okay smile. Promise me you won't let her lose.
Of course.
Okay, mein Charakter will das Gegenteil von mir. Ja, das meine ich ja. Vor allem, sie können auch einfach with her sagen. Wie es zum Beispiel Kimiko macht, öfter mal. I waved goodbye to Melody as Shizuka led her out of the room. The Vogels following behind. The door shut behind Team B.
I thought they'd never leave. Now it's time for a game within a game.
Yeah!
Let's play.
Caraibo!
Team Captain!
We don't pick our own captain?
I've preloaded 4 cards on your tablets. You can choose one whenever you're ready. The person who...
Meinen Charakter rausvoten. Rein theoretisch ja, das Problem ist nur, es bringt uns nicht so viel, weil da müssen wir einen anderen Strahl machen. Weißt du, wenn wir sterben, dann müssen wir eh neu anfangen. The person who chooses the card with the bunny on it will be the team captain. Bunny Zucchino.
How can we be sure the process is fair?
Why would I cheat? I'm in charge. I could just pick whoever I want for captain.
Ja, du könntest uns aber auch das Gefühl geben, dass wir selbst gewählt haben und dadurch rauskommen, dass du nicht böse bist.
This way's more fun.
That was a good point. Why invent a random system and then cheat to choose a captain she could have just tyrannically appointed anyway?
What order do we pick our cards?
That's up to you.
I'll go last, I'll take whatever's left. Nein!
It doesn't seem like the order makes much difference. It's basically just chance.
Ach nee, warte mal,
I'll
wir
go
haben
second
Yoshiki?
last.
Wir haben Yoshiki? Wen haben die anderen? Beatrix? Nikolas? Ach, stimmt. Ich habe Melody nie als Person mitgezählt. Also, als Person schon, aber nicht als Zahl dazu. Ja, Dex, aber das war bei Zero Escape auch so. Also, da habe ich mich auch oft so gefühlt so, ja, erzähl es mir halt noch 100 Mal.
Okay, well, captain's first, I guess.
Ich weiß genau, was passiert. Wir werden halt wirklich Captain. Und somit will das Spiel halt einfach nur eine weitere Zufallsdings weglassen, dass es mehrere Wege gibt und uns halt zwingen, der Captain zu sein, weil wir nichts entscheiden können. Kimiko looked at her tablet.
I'll take card 3.
I'll go for card 4.
2.
I'll take card 2, which leaves my BFF with lucky number 1.
Von 1 bis 10 ist meine Lieblingsnummer 2. Ab 10 ist es 13, also hör auf, mir meine 2 wegzunehmen.
I like you guys, quick and efficient. So, let's see what you've won. Congratulations! You are the lucky winner.
Ich glaube sogar, dass es sein könnte, dass Melody stirbt. Also entweder Katashi oder Melody. Einer von denen. Ich glaube, wir haben gerade den schlimmsten Weg. Also da, wo immer wenn wir jemanden kennenlernen, oder beziehungsweise die Person, die am schlimmsten eigentlich rein theoretisch wäre, stirbt. Ich glaube, das ist der Weg gerade. Thanks.
I know how much you all love my company, but alas, I must depart. Team B needs me. Any further questions?
We all looked at one another, none of us budging.
No? Then farewell, brave contestants.
Toodles! Dad disappeared, leaving us free to talk. I hope Melody is okay. She can't speak for herself. Katashi gern behalten. Ja, ich an sich auch. Also am liebsten Shizuka, weil ich die wirklich am meisten mag. Ich mag den Charakter. Ich meine, Dai, gut, um die müssen wir uns erstmal keine Sorgen machen, dass sie weggeht. Beatrix mag ich. Nikolas, irgendwie habe ich das Gefühl, der ist nett. Ich habe irgendwie das Gefühl, dass Kimiko böse ist. Weil die ist die Einzige, die uns was Böses über die Vogels gesagt hat. Und bisher habe ich nichts davon mitgekriegt, dass die Vogels irgendwie fies wären.
I doubt the others would let her lose the game.
Agreed.
I guess so. I wasn't that confident. It was one thing to say they wouldn't let Melody end up on the least points, but that meant one of the three of them would lose, and I didn't think it was that easy to volunteer for death. But then again, they had Shizuka, who won at every game she played, and the twins were both smart and savvy. Maybe I shouldn't be as scared for Melody as for myself.
All right. Let's look at this logically. Since we can't know what they're going to do, we need to find a way of hedging our bets.
We might as well just guess.
Vielleicht lernen wir jetzt auch Yoshiki näher kennen. Dann könnte es sein, dass er stirbt. Er ist auch disposable, würde ich sagen.
We could use the first round as a test to see what their strategy is, and use that to decide on the strategy for the other 2 rounds.
We could do it while wearing funny hats. Everything's easier with a funny hat on.
But they probably have the same idea.
How exactly are they even going to survive a week on their own anyway?
Good point. If both of us are trying to gauge each other's strategy, the first round is pointless and we'll both be misled.
Another advantage of the funny hat plan is that it will confuse and disorient our opponents.
Who's going to feed them? Is Nicholas going to get behind a frying pan? Can you imagine?
I can. Well, I'm imagining a funny hat for him, too.
Halt die Schnauze! I can see the captain doing her best to ignore the other 2.
So there's really 2 basic options to this game, I think. You can either give one person a very high number, or you can spread the points out more evenly.
Hallo, who it's wanted to go? Ich glaube wirklich, dass Melody sein könnte, weil das Spiel halt bisher... Ich meine ganz ehrlich, wer tötet erst die Mutter des Kindes und danach den Vater? Und es war ja geskriptet zum Teil. Also, es ist wahrscheinlich, hätten wir... Wir haben 2 andere Optionen haben müssen. Das heißt, entweder hätten wir uns selbst treffen müssen oder irgendwen anders, der auch hätte sterben können, nicht wahr? Ach nee, wir hätten... Ich weiß gar nicht, wie es ist, weil wir haben... Also, es waren 2, die nicht gewotet wurden. Deswegen hätte es sein können, dass man Gleichstand schafft, aber ich glaube nicht. Das macht eigentlich keinen Sinn. Vielleicht hätten wir wirklich die Zahl voten müssen, die wir das letzte Mal beim Kartenspiel hatten, was irgendwie vorgeschlagen wurde und per Zufall wäre es vielleicht gleich gewesen. Oder wir müssen irgendwie die Informationen aus der Zukunft rausfinden, wer für wen gewotet hat, dass wir dann wirklich auffüllen können. Oder wir müssen mit den anderen das besser besprechen und das wirklich... Keine Ahnung, dann gibt es einen Strang, wo wir wirklich sagen so, ja, hey, wir wissen alles und wir wissen genau, was wir machen müssen. Aber ich glaube, es war immer so, dass jetzt der Vater hätte sterben müssen. Ja, Melody war immer safe, damit ihre beiden Eltern erstmal sterben konnten. Also, Melody kann sein, dass sie eine wichtige Rolle spielt. Das kann ich jetzt noch überhaupt nicht sagen. Das war bei Zero Escape irgendwie einfacher. Und Melody kann sein, dass es eine wichtige Rolle spielt. Das werden wir rausfinden. Wir haben ja gefühlt irgendwie, keine Ahnung, 1% vom Spiel gesehen bisher. That sounds about right.
Is there a play we can make that has a higher chance of beating them, regardless of which of those they choose?
If we give our highest player a 9, that will either win or cancel out if they play a 9 too. But that leaves us with only 1 point to give to someone else. And that means they would beat our other 3 players.
It might be better to use lower numbers and write the highest off as a loss, focusing on the other 3.
I'd still like to put in a word for the hat plan.
Yoshiki.
I was sure he knew his head plan was unlikely to win us the game. He was just trying to use humor to ease tension. It wasn't working so well.
I don't exactly see Beatrix cooking either.
Okay, I think we all need some time to process this and think about it. Let's regroup later.
Agreed. I've got to go put some food aside. I hope they realize it's for them.
Macht das wohl so, ne? Müsste das mit Melody noch da... Mal gucken, ne? Also ich kann mir vorstellen, dass wir erstmal das Ende kriegen, dass wir sterben als Team-Captain. Es kann auch sein, dass... Oh, Melody würden sie nicht als Team-Captain nehmen, oder? Achso, das ist ja eh zufällig. Ich glaube, vielleicht ist es tatsächlich so. Oh, vielleicht... Oh, ich glaube, das böse Ende ist, Melody und ich sterben beide, weil wir ein Unentschieden schaffen. Und die beiden Team-Captains werden ja sterben beim Unentschieden nach 3 Runden. Ich glaube, das ist der böse. Aber es ist irgendwo auch wieder positiv, weil sie dann endlich mit jemandem sterben kann und nicht immer anderen nur beim Sterben zusehen muss. Ja, das meine ich ja mit dem bösen Weg. Ich glaube, dass das tatsächlich passiert, weil sonst hätte da jetzt nicht plötzlich die Regel geändert, dass mehrere Leute sterben können. Ich kann mir es wirklich vorstellen bei ihr. Es gibt zwei Entscheidungen. Hier ist... Ich glaube, das heißt irgendwie, dass man rüber skippen kann oder so. Das weiß ich noch nicht. Weil das sind die gleichen Zeichen, aber irgendwie passt das Ding hier nicht hin. Das macht ganz egal. Kann ich mir vorstellen, auf jeden Fall. Seit wann es läuft? Sieht man das hier? Ne, sieht man nicht. Also, ist das jetzt... Also, keine Ahnung. Also, meinst du jetzt, heute nur? Game. Also, heute 2 Stunden 58. Davor auch so 3, 4 Stunden, glaube ich. 3,5 oder so.
I have to check on our course anyway.
I've got hats to make.
Yoshiki flashed a cheeky grin and it was impossible to be annoyed at his silly behavior. Nein, es war nicht unmöglich. Alright, let's meet up later. We each went our separate ways, worrying about our separate concerns. Mine was Melody and whether I could trust Shizuka and the Vogels to put her safety ahead of their own. Ja, eher 6, 7, glaube ich. Der nächste Tag. Auf YouTube gibt's die VODs. Entschuldigung. I woke up feeling surprisingly rested and refreshed. We had a new deletion game, but there was no point stressing too much about that. I'd known there would be a new game, and there was a whole week before we had to play. 6 Stunden? Echt? Es waren nur 3 Stunden letzte Woche? Ich dachte echt länger. Ach nee, da haben wir so lange gequatscht, ne? There was plenty of time for me to find another solution. That could mean fixing Dai or working out how my parents' pocket watch worked. Worrying about the game wouldn't get me anywhere, and Yoshiki had been right. Being unable to predict our opponent's strategy, we might just well guess and hope for the best, funny head or not. There was one thing I felt justified in worrying about. I summoned Ai as I finished getting dressed.
Hello, how can I assist you?
Can you tell me who Melody is with and what they're doing? I'm not allowed to ask them directly, and I don't think Dai would like it if I passed a message through you. But can you just tell me what she's doing?
Melody is in Shizuka's quarters. Shizuka is teaching her how to play a video game.
Überraschung. Does she seem okay? Is she happy?
Melody is interested in the game and is not currently showing any obvious signs of distress.
Well, that's good, I guess. Thanks, Ai. Satisfied that Melody was okay, I decided to spend the day thinking about the pocket watch. I still didn't understand how it was supposed to work, but maybe one of the others would have some ideas. Perhaps I just needed a fresh pair of eyes. The most obvious choice was to show the watch to the captain, but I wasn't sure if she'd believe me about dimensional travel. I was more comfortable with Yoshiki, and he was an engineer, but he might not take me seriously enough. Perhaps Katashi. He does dig holes. He does dig holes. Gehen wir zu Kimiko, zu Katashi oder zu Yoshiki? Gehen wir zu Schnördelbördel, Captain oder zu Hotboy? Zum Dick. Oh, sorry, Dominik, stimmt. Der wollte mit uns... Komm, wir haben mit dem geflirtet. Wir müssen durchziehen. My tablet showed me that Katashi was in the eco lounge. I was able to use the tablet as I walked to see where Team B were. It stopped me walking right past Beatrix. I didn't want to risk any interaction at all, even just a passing nod. I was too vindictive and unpredictable to risk that. When I got to the eco lounge, I found Katashi lying on the grass under a tree with his eyes closed. I wasn't sure if he was asleep or not, so I approached as quietly as I could, figuring I'd just sit nearby and wait for him to wake up. Oops. Oha!
Hello.
Mit dem Mausrad. Ich glaube, es hackt. Wer kommt denn auf sowas? I picked a spot close enough to see if he opened his eyes, but not close enough to be creepy. He didn't move at all as I crept over and sat down.
What do you want?
Ah! He hadn't even opened his eyes. How did he know it was me? Did he hear me? Do I smell bad? I don't have to want something from you to come and see you.
Get on with it.
Clearly he wasn't buying what I was saying. Well, I came to show you something. Katashi finally opened his eyes and sat up.
Finally, to the point. Now, what is it?
Nee, skippen konnten wir davor schon, das ist hier. Dass der Knopf des Zurückspulen hatten wir davor nicht. Also du hast nicht so ein Lock wie bei Zero Escape, was halt total bescheuert war, weil ab und zu kommst du halt zweimal auf die Maus. Wenn du zum Beispiel rausgetappt warst, dann denkst du nicht dran, ich klicke jetzt rein und dann skippe ich schon. Und deswegen hatte ich oft irgendwas übersprungen. Und das ist cool, weil dann kann ich jetzt zurückspulen. I took out the pocket watch to show him. So this belonged to my parents. I found it in their stuff in the lab.
It's a watch.
Haha, I know that. But I don't think it's just a watch. I think it has something to do with alternate realities and traveling between them.
Well, I'm not exactly a physicist. So what do you need my opinion for?
How do you think it works? If you could travel between dimensions, what would you do first? I don't want your opinion on anything! Warte mal, das kann ich machen, ne? I don't need your help at all. I just enjoy talking to you. Danke, Gott sei Dank. Das wollte ich ausprobieren.
Yeah, okay. You came all the way here to tell me about your parents' watch, and you don't even want my opinion about it?
No, I don't. I don't need or want your opinion. Ever.
Alright.
Katashi got back on his feet.
Well, it was great fun listening to your stories, as thrilling as they were.
Nee, ich trau dem nicht.
Oh.
Nee, komm, wir machen... What would you do first? Katashi lay back again, looking up at the tree.
What would I do first?
Wir müssen ihn näher kennen,
If I could change dimensions, I wouldn't mind seeing if different dimensions have different food products.
Really?
Just imagine all the things that are edible. Just not in this universe.
Yeah, I suppose so.
Trying new things is amazing. You won't know if you like something until you try it. And new dimensions offer more chances to discover something new. Just think of the possibilities.
Katashi rolled himself forward and moved from lying on his back to standing up in one fluid movement.
Damn it, now I'm hungry. Thanks for the conversation, but I'm gonna get something to eat.
Nicht nur Missy. Ich glaube, wir bumsen alle. Also außer Melody zum Beispiel. He walked off back towards the door without saying another word or even looking back at me. Frustrated and annoyed, I decided to go back to my quarters and look through my parents' research notes. Maybe it would be a good time to summon Ai so we could talk about Dai and her deactivation codes. Figuring out the watch wouldn't be so urgent if we could stop Dai from slaughtering the rest of the crew. Stimmt, Dex, stimmt. I sat on the bed with the papers and tablets sprawled over the bed. Nothing. Still nothing. It's so frustrating. Okay, I need to calm down. Getting angry isn't going to solve anything. I threw myself back on the bed and stared at the ceiling for a long time before I was suddenly bathed in the warm glow of Ai's holographic interface.
I am sorry to interrupt.
Don't worry about it, Ai. You weren't interrupting anything. What's up?
I found some more information that may be useful against Dai.
Danke, Sascha. Das hat noch nie jemand gesagt. Dabei sind wir so sexy. Wo sind wir? Wo sind wir? Wo sind wir? Irgendwo hat man uns gesehen. Egal. That's wonderful. Was it? What is it?
I've discovered that it's possible to input the deactivation code into any terminal, including your personal tablets.
Hallo Tom und Dankeschön. Und guten Abend natürlich. Do you know anything else about the deactivation code? I shook her head.
Unfortunately, I didn't learn anything else. I tried to access more information, but even with my administrator privileges, I was unable to proceed any further.
Well, at least we know where we can input the code once we know what it is.
I am glad you are pleased.
Das nervt mich, weil es nicht Vollbild ist. Kommen halt bei mir immer die Pop-Up-Nachrichten noch, ne? Also, Entschuldigung, ihr könnt Ei haben, aber Dai gehört mir, damit das klar ist, okay? It isn't perfect, but it's a step in the right direction.
I must return to my duties.
Of course. Thanks for the update, I bowed and phased out of my quarters. Deactivated from any tablet or terminal, huh? At least now I knew that I wouldn't need a higher clearance level. I'm probably going to have to dig up some information on Ayumu if I want to work out this code. I returned my attention to the watch. Come on, Luna! Pull yourself together. You need to work this out. I sifted through my parents' papers and tablets to see if I had missed anything. Nein, Dex, vergiss es. Shizuka ist mir, okay? Shizuka und Dai und Beatrix und Katashi sind mir. I woke up on Wednesday morning, but it felt like I hadn't slept at all. I couldn't remember having any bad dreams, but something had made me my sleep restless. Na und, Dex? Ich spiele das Spiel. Die können mir alle. Hä, hab ich doch gesagt, Missy. Hab ich doch gerade gesagt. I felt the need to be with someone, so I looked at my tablet to see who was where. Thanks to Dai's stupid no-contact rules, my options were pretty limited. Yoshiki wasn't in any room on the map. It looked like he was in some sort of maintenance shaft. That ruled him out. I was not in the mood for spelunking, ne? That early in the morning. It was a choice between the captain in her quarters or Katashi in the kitchen. Das wird eng. Nein. Den Captain kannst du haben, Kimiko kannst du haben. Oh, was ist das da? Was soll das? Ich muss mich wieder zurücklehnen. Immer wenn die Kamera so hell wird, weil so ist es nicht. Johan ist mir. Also das ist ja wohl klar. So, aber ich würde sagen, das war's für heute, weil, wie gesagt, um 12 muss ich mit dem Hund und das ist jetzt 7 vor und ich habe keine Lust jetzt nochmal irgendwie was anzufangen, was irgendwie krass lange dauert. Dann können wir das nächste Mal uns die Köpfe einschlagen, wo wir hingehen. Ah, wir brauchen kein Bett, also da, nee, wir schieben ein paar Betten zusammen aus, muss ja nicht gleichzeitig. Hier. Sad, I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Sorry, sorry. Sorry, Schmodi. Oh Gott. Wen hoste ich denn? Wer gibt mir Wife-Content? Ich sehe keinen Wife-Content, das tut mir leid, Sascha. Wann es morgen losgeht, wieder spät. Wieder spät. Also um 22 Uhr rum. Spät. Ja, danke, Missy, danke. Ich weiß echt nicht. Ta da ta da ta da ta ta ta. habe sie ja nur gefärbt. Das ist echt krass, die sind teilweise silber. Dabei waren die nie. Warum sind die so silber geworden? Die waren eigentlich viel saturierter. Und jetzt ist die Farbe einfach komplett raus. Ich verstehe es halt nicht. Schlaf gut, Teddy. Schön, dass du da warst. Und träumt alle wunderschön. Danke fürs Zuschauen. Ich schicke euch mal zu May rüber. Ich schicke euch zu May rüber. Das ist eine gute Idee. Konnte ich noch nie wirklich hosten. 0 Zuschauer sind wir wieder. Yay! Danke fürs dabei sein. So, erstmal an mir selbst verschluckt. Danke fürs dabei sein. Schlaft gut, habt noch einen wunderschönen Abend. Richtet May liebe Grüße aus. Sagt ihm, ich muss sofort mit dem Hund gehen, weswegen der Stream ja auch aus ist. Habt noch eine wundervolle Nacht. Und lasst euch nicht ärgern. Viel Erfolg. Und wir sehen uns am Donnerstag wieder. Wie gesagt, morgen... Ach nee, morgen gar nicht. Entschuldigung. Entschuldigung, morgen ist gar kein Stream. Ich muss ja... Also, ich habe ja abgesagt. Ich habe ja gesagt, morgen geht nicht. Also, am Donnerstag Stream. Am Donnerstag. Ich muss morgen Dinge tun. Ich muss endlich mal anfangen auszumisten. Genau, bis Donnerstag. Gute Nacht. Danke euch. Schlaft gut.